this face about right now? What's going on?
We world champions.
Right.
And we did it. And it's our league. And we run this. And we did it for the Bay. And we're going to do it again for the Bay. Because we rep the Bay.
Okay.
Bay Area's team.
Yeah.
We run this.
All right.
All right. We here.
Draymond, you are such a...
Clay Thompson, yup. Splash Brothers, yup. Cavaliers, nope. We won, yup. They suck, yup. We here, yup. They not, nope.
Alright, 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 alright. Alright, 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 alright. I never listen, I'm gonna listen. I wanna listen to the Dom Zone.
Hey, everybody. Welcome. With open arms, we welcome you to our audio/video podcast today. If you are listening, you don't know who's sitting there next to Blake. I'm Dan. We have Jake. We have Blake. And sitting next to Blake. Is that how it would be on the video, too, Blake?
Yeah, look at us.
He's kind of lagging. Looks like he's got a little bit of a blurry thing. He's got an Acer. Kind of computer he's got there. That is a man nobody knows what he looks like because he's a radio man. He is the great Jared Sandler.
Wow, yeah.
From Rangerland.
Hey, guys. Do we even recognize him without his blanket?
Oh, man.
Is that all you'll think about for the rest of his life?
His jail blanket.
This guy could be in the Baseball Hall of Fame someday. Maybe the Rangers. Oh, let's start with Rangers Hall of Fame. I don't want to get you into the Baseball Hall of Fame just yet.
I would actually say it would be a disappointment if he's not in the Rangers Hall of Fame. Don't you feel?
I mean, what if when Joe Buck steps down, they call him and they're like, "Hey, we need you to stop doing Rangers," and he
that
says,
would be tough.
What about Blake? What if when Blake takes my job?
That's true.
I could never.
All that play-by-play he's doing.
The great Jared Sandler. You probably know him from 105.3 The Fan.
What's that?
It's a radio station.
Home of the Rangers, Blake.
It is home of the Rangers.
I was just
the world
kidding.
champion.
I knew what it was all along.
I know. Guys, I was so excited to come up here, and I see Jake. He gives me a big hug. When I'm pulling up, I see Dan walking the dogs. He smiles. And then my friend Blake walks in, like throws his stuff down and just plops his seat on the couch, doesn't crack a smile. Hey, Blake, haven't seen you in I don't know how long.
Yeah. Hey, Jared. Yeah, you caught me in a bad mood because apparently I have to dress up like this to show up to work now. I can't just wear golf shorts and a T-shirt.
I think we're just looking for something in between.
I have to wear my Sunday best up here to the Dragon Den, and I just wasn't pleased about it.
I think there's something in between go watch film on Sunday clothes and whatever you're doing right now. Because whatever you're doing right now is making me uncomfortable.
Nothing is ever good enough.
That's because Jake's a perfectionist. I actually dressed just for the video today and for Jared, so I do have the no puppet hat, which Jake doesn't want us to sell.
Yeah, what do you think about that, Jared?
This particular no puppet hat.
I was a little concerned Dan might wear something that's in line with another fascination of his that might contradict my my religious upbringing, so I'll take the no puppet hat.
So you think I have Hitler wear? Are you trying to insinuate that? Like that I'd have an armband on or something? What would I be wearing?
I would take the over on at 1.5 Hitler items.
In fact, in this room,
that's a good over-under.
There's only one guy who has worn any Hitler gear. That's him.
What?
Your George Bush Hitler mustache.
Okay.
T-shirt that you wore in high school. You've told us about that many times.
I don't know that that's really Hitler gear.
Well,
it was really more comparing the president of the United States to a murderous dictator. They both had a lot of blood on their hands.
Okay. Stalin had more. I also wore this for
wow.
For
yeah.
Jared.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that.
For Jared, so he could feel right at home. I'm wearing my Texas Rangers World Champion T-shirt that Jake bought at 1 a.m. at Academy. Academy.
Later than that, yeah.
Standing in line for a couple hours, right?
Yeah, I was there for a good 90 minutes. It was cool. Like everyone was just like silent.
Oh, there was no like.
It was just
communal...
like, what just happened? There was a communal element to it, but everyone was just like, I can't believe that just happened.
They're in shock.
Yeah.
Jared
Largely
Sandler, pregame and postgame host for the Rangers. Boy, that's a late night, isn't it?
The night they won?
No, every
Just
night.
any
Oh,
night.
yeah.
Just
Well,
like Wednesday.
How different was this year with the nice rule changes?
Oh, it was great. So we would talk about it all the time. There'd be games, especially during that run in August and September when the team was struggling. It'd maybe be down like, I don't know, 6-0 in the second inning, pitching change, and we would look and it'd be like 7:35, and it would be like 8:20 if this was last year. I mean, it really is. Someone said like 72 hours over the course of a season. I don't know. Gosh, I don't remember the math. Whatever it was, getting home at 11 instead of 12 like makes a big difference when you don't really see your wife much and maybe she's going to be a little bit awake. Yeah, it's a game changer. And anyone who said the biggest thing I couldn't stand was this isn't baseball with a clock. And I understand that baseball never had a clock, but the reality is the last 10 years wasn't baseball. The baseball that these people grew up watching was 2 hours, 15 minutes, 2 hours, 30 minutes, maybe even shorter. The last 10 years is really more fitting of this isn't baseball, playing 3-hour and 45-minute games. And also in the World Series, I think I saw was the shortest average time for, a collection of World Series games, and that's great too. I know it's the World Series, but no one wants to be up until 11:30 because it's a close game in the 7th inning.
So you're putting positive spin on something for your employer.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Propaganda.
But I
think you're right.
You being radio man, we've always heard baseball as a talking sport. I feel like radio was really affected by it.
There's not as much time for back and forth. There'd be times earlier in the year where Hicksy and I, Matt Hicks, great Matt Hicks, we would say to one another after a game, I'm sorry, I didn't really give you anything in the whatever inning. And we'd think back and there just wasn't time or space. But that's
no cookie talk?
No cookie talk. There are still opportunities to work stuff in there, but you definitely got to get in and out. You got to land the plane a little quicker. But I think for the whole, that's a trade we'll take. But yeah, you're right. There was definitely an adjustment. Spring training was, for the first time, I think spring training was really good for us to truly get ready for the season because we got exposed to the clock.
How many games did you do this year?
I think it was over 115, 120.
Dang.
Yeah.
So
not
the
for
Eric
great
Nadel
reason.
voodoo doll worked.
Stop it. Don't put me down that path. I'm really glad. I was gonna do I think around 80. So I punched that doll enough to get 40 more.
Yeah.
No, I'm really glad that Eric was able to get back because we didn't know. There were times I don't think he knew, and certainly would have felt weird with the Rangers doing what they did if he wasn't a part of it after everything he's put into this organization and everything he means to the fans and the listeners. I said this on air the night we won. I got a little emotional doing it. He's a big reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. I fell asleep every night listening to him. And he helped me fall in love with baseball, the Rangers, but also broadcasting. And so it felt right that he was the guy who was able to deliver the final call.
I feel like you lived my original dream. My original dream was baseball play-by-play. It would be the greatest thing. I did the same thing. Falling asleep every night, listening to the games. Although I wouldn't fall asleep during the game. I'd listen to the end of that damn game.
Unnecessary curse.
Okay, that darn game. That game. But it's definitely what I liked about radio is the descriptive. It's like why we'll bag on Brad Sham now for not being descriptive. Or I don't like the Stars broadcast listening on the radio because it's a TV broadcast that they just simulcast. I like painting the picture. And Eric Nadel, man,
the best.
Just about the best at that because I've listened to it literally a million guys do play-by-play, prep and homer call and all that kind of stuff.
Who'd you grow up listening
awesome.
to?
Joe Tate is very descriptive, but I guess it would be Herb Score and Nev Chandler for the Indians. And Herb Score I did not like because he was like 80, and he was not very descriptive at all. I know Tom Hamilton is their current guy, and you probably know him and like him and stuff, but I know a lot of Cleveland fans who can't stand his over-enthusiasm over just about anything.
He has to have been on Homer Call at some point, right?
Yeah, for sure. But like I said, you lived my dream, and so that's why I went to college, to either be in coaching or to be a play-by-play guy. That's right.
I know.
I took sports sciences, and that's
just
why
very funny.
I took the coaching classes.
For me to imagine you being a coach.
You know what? My daughter was telling me that yesterday. I'm like, "Well, I was your coach." She's like, "No. The coach has to be kind of like a hard ass."
Yeah.
He'd give some Harbaugh like press conferences though, right?
You would
And he's
think,
not a hard ass.
rambling a little bit.
Chickens and
But then it did
Smacking your
seem
wife
so.
around.
I graduated, and I'm like, okay, how do I get a play-by-play job? And so I got a play-by-play job at a very small radio station in Marietta, Ohio. Even smaller than that city, but I had to sell too. And
Kind of even funnier.
Oh my gosh, yeah. How many times did I just sit outside some guy's business and then not go in and write it down on my sheet like, oh yeah,
Call log.
they said no.
Yep.
Did you ever have to do anything like that? Because that's what I always heard too. When you get into that, the minor leagues or the low levels, you got to do a million things. You can't just be hired as the play-by-play guy.
I got lucky. I never had to sell. I think that was really appealing because I think I would have been like you. I think I would have been too nervous. I wouldn't have believed in selling time on some small radio station in Great Falls, Montana, listening to the Great Falls Voyagers. I did.
That's where you worked?
That was my very first stop, yeah.
Montana.
I did have to, when I got really lucky in, my second stop was in Midland, Michigan, and it was a very entrepreneurial ownership group, and so they bought the radio station that carried the games, rebranded it to an ESPN affiliate, and so instead
Is that the
of
Great Lake Loons?
the Great Lakes Loons, yeah.
Okay.
Instead of having to sell, like my additional responsibility, I was the program director for the station, and I had to do like a drive time sports talk show about Michigan sports, and then did high school football and basketball, and then some Division II football and basketball.
All right, let me pick apart your resume here.
Yeah.
Because it does say you did that kind of stuff.
Oh, you got my resume printed out.
How'd you get that?
Yeah. Where's that?
And just because I put a fake ad for the Cleveland Indians broadcast job and you sent this to me, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
That's how I got a bunch of resumes when I was a kid. When I first graduated college, or later in life, I just couldn't figure out how to get any responses. And I didn't know, does my tape suck? So my mom had a P.O. box in Cleveland, and back then there was something called radio.com, and that's where people would go to see what job openings are. So I listed a job opening that I wanted, which was mid-market sports talk show host.
Don't get too ambitious.
I was in a really small town, so I
Yeah.
figured I can't jump to Dallas. I should look for a mid-market, a Columbus, something like that. So then I got a ton of resumes and tapes sent to me, and I got to see, okay, this is how other people are making their resumes and tapes. So I thought it was
Brilliant.
a genius idea.
That is really smart.
I mean, it didn't get me this job.
But did you take anything from it? Did you learn from it?
Yeah, for sure. I learned I should not handwrite my tape. Like it was an actual cassette
Yeah.
tape back then, and I would write my name on it. And the ones that were professionally printed looked way cooler. And I just, that kind of a thing. Looking at the resumes, I realized you don't want a multi-page resume, actually. You want it all to fit on one piece of paper, and, I don't know, just little stuff like that. Anyway, What I have a problem with in your resume is the embellishment it looks like here.
What resume is this? I'm really confused.
The Great Lakes Loons, calling play-by-play for baseball, basketball, and football, as well as hosting the region's highest-rated afternoon sports talk show host.
That was.
Okay.
It was the number one sports talk show in the region.
What was it against?
I mean, not a whole lot, but it was still number one.
Like, are we the highest-rated
South Lake-based podcast?
Yeah, podcast done above a garage. And
let me tell you something. When you are making,
I like it.
when
I
you're
like what
making
you've done here.
$20,000 a year,
I like what you've done here.
and you're trying to get out of there, you gotta. It was not a lie, but I just didn't provide. It has to be on one page, right?
There was just
You
no
learned that.
context. Yes,
Right.
you didn't
Yeah, I
say
didn't-
there are no other sports talk shows.
I didn't have the time or didn't have the space to provide context. I will say though, when we took over, it was initially a 6 to 8 show, and we moved it to 4 to 6, and there was this guy, Bill Simonson, the Huge Show with Bill Simonson. You have probably heard him at some point if you've been driving around in your car after midnight on a Saturday and you're flipping around the sports talk offerings here in the Metroplex. That guy was the biggest bag of you-know-what. He was based in Grand Rapids, and when we told him that some little 22-year-old was going to move him from 4 to 6 to 6 to 8, it obviously hurt maybe some advertising. I don't know. And I sent him an email saying, Bill, thank you so much for understanding about this move. Like, I just didn't want to be an outcast.
He was simulcast?
He was simulcast. Yeah, it wasn't.
Okay.
He had the huge
a network show.
Yeah.
Okay.
And his response, it was just like a very, I don't know. I was trying to be appreciative, and I didn't want to burn a bridge, because when you're 22, you feel like if you burn any bridge, you're toast. And instead of saying, "Hey, best of luck" or whatever, his response was, "You're not going to last 6 months. Give me a call when you're ready to move me back," or something.
Whoa.
Dang.
And I was like, wow, all right, this guy's great. Big fan. And
So it was because of your show? You're bumping him for yourself?
So we- top rated.
I mean, yeah, we needed the top rate. So they wanted
you had
a
to be
live
done
and
by
local.
6. Yeah.
Yeah, they wanted a live and local show, and
And you decided not mornings. Because for some reason, when I was a little broadcaster and I was the PD in a Youngstown, Ohio, I gave myself the morning show because I thought if any bigger market is looking for people, they're going to want the morning show. Like, why would you be on anywhere else? So, yes, I chose the morning show.
so we did
And
afternoons.
that's where we'd smoke outside right before the show.
I was about to ask.
Yeah, at 5:45 a.m. every day.
I would
That's
swivel
amazing.
my chair and then call a baseball game right after. I think that's why. I think because it could all be kind of done in one.
One day.
Yeah.
Kind of a
In one area?
full shift.
One
Like
area.
you
yeah.
did your show at the stadium?
Yeah, we had it really was
Okay.
a great studio setup. I stole a lot of y'all's bits because in Midland, Michigan, no one knew the difference. It wasn't like
You're doing Gay Not Gay? And
I wasn't going there.
oh, okay.
But we always would have a montage to begin the show.
Okay.
Now we didn't have the manpower.
We're working
to
on
do,
that. We got one thing
Yeah.
a day. Yeah.
We didn't have the manpower to do different ones every day, but I definitely had a whole library of audio, and we maybe would have 10. We would rotate, every couple weeks.
Because this was after you worked as an intern at the Ticket.
This was after, yeah.
And that takes us back to Jake's, the only memory he has of you.
It's not the only.
I think
but
of you as an accomplished broadcaster and, colleague, peer. And Jake thinks of you as the intern who once got arrested.
Yeah, Dan really put his arm around me when I was an intern and said, "Follow my lead. I'm gonna make you a star."
Kind of a mentor.
yeah,
That's what I consider myself.
yeah.
I don't think I was against you. I don't
No,
know that
you
we
were
did-
great. I didn't.
Yeah.
I was nervous around you because I didn't quite understand your humor, and I would walk out of.
who does?
Well, so I interned for Norm. Norm would hand it off to you guys. Bob would walk in. He would criticize what I was wearing because I might be wearing Nike shorts and an Adidas shirt.
Okay.
Foul. Tee 'em
And
up.
so I
That
to
feels
this
like
day,
Bob.
Yep. And love Bob, but I always was nervous what I was wearing, and you would always
Like,
make
what's your hat? Does it match your?
exactly. You would make kind of a one-off remark about something. Maybe I was like too eager that day to like help out, or maybe, maybe I I handed something, I printed something for Norm, and you had some comment, but you're getting ready for the mix, and so you're not totally engaging, and I'd walk out of there just totally mind-effed, like, gosh, this guy must hate me, or I really don't know what's going on here.
How'd you get in with Norm? Your dad, right?
So my dad met Frito at a remote and got Frito's email.
Is your dad South African?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember him. He used to call up a lot. And
Oh, yeah.
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 Do you have, like, dual citizenship?
No, I'm the only one in my family born in Dallas.
Okay.
I guess my oldest brother doesn't at this point because it's been so long. But
It expires?
yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. I guess I've never. I mean, we've.
Was your dad pro or anti-apartheid?
My
It's the one thing he knows about
Dan.
South Africa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he would, right? That would be the.
And I know it's somewhere near Chad.
I am very fortunate
It's on
that
the same continent.
I am.
There you go.
I grew up with. I'm white, and a white family from South Africa very easily could have views
Yeah.
counter to what.
Elon-ish.
Yeah,
Elon Musk-ish.
equality was very important growing up. That was hammered home because of my family's experiences there.
When did your dad move here?
1978,
Okay.
I think, 78 or 79, and he got out in part. I mean, it's a longer story.
It's like, you're imprisoning Mandela. I'm out of here.
Yeah,
That's pretty much what he said.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
No, he seems like a good guy.
He is a good guy. He gave me Frito's email. I peppered Frito. This was before there was like any sort of legitimate intern system or program, and I just annoyed Frito, and he told me to come up.
Yeah, they actually only had a legitimate intern system or program for about a year, and then they had to pay him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they discontinued the.
And they
well, they didn't
stopped having
discontinue,
it.
but we've always talked about that's. I remember it was a big thing with Letterman show or whatever,
And Jane Slater.
like interns demanding to be paid,
Yeah,
and I think they should be paid.
you used to not.
Really? Why? Was it just kind of a hey, you got to work yourself?
I feel like you've come a long way on that front.
Although if we get an intern, I'm not sure if it'll
Times are tight.
change. Yeah, no, but Cumulus at some point said we're going to change our policy to fit with the times. We're going to start paying interns.
Yeah.
And that's the yay of the yay boo. And the boo was, well, we can't really afford to get interns.
Yeah.
And so
There's no more.
So, I mean, we and Jake used to be in charge of it, like would book 4 per quarter, or 4 half year. I don't know.
Fall,
but
spring, summer, something like that.
But it was like we'd have 4 different guys every few months, and it'd be great. Guys or girls, but that dwindled to, maybe they allowed us to have 1 after that.
Yeah.
1 paid intern.
COVID did not help.
Yeah, COVID.
Well, your interns would archive.
There is a negative to COVID, if you were thinking there.
Yeah, there were no other. Your interns would archive and get food, right? That was a big.
Yeah, they were, but I mean, they would do.
Homer call was a real good
Homer call
test
in
if
the
you could
fall
do
was a
anything.
big deal. Yeah, but I mean, if you just look at like the people that staff the station,
Yeah.
I mean, I hired a lot of those people, or at least over.
It's always
time.
a good.
They're not all
it's a
still
good
there,
test to kind of figure out, like if
Yeah.
one of those interns rises up above the others, if they don't forget the rice or whatever it is, then you
They
end
get
up. Seriously, you got to get the rice, and then you graduate to being able to beep, Monster or something like that,
Yeah.
which is something we also had an intern do.
So I don't know how much you know about this, Dan, but Jared and I talk a lot about babies.
Why, you got a kid?
No kids yet.
Okay, you're just trying to figure out how to make one.
Yeah.
Hey, Jake,
I'm not really sure.
what'd you do, bro?
I'm not sure the steps.
We've been on some of the same journeys.
What do you mean?
As far as fertility stuff.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. The
So-
IVF thing. And, I mean, he's had a long journey. I don't know how much you want to talk about this.
Yeah, no,
but I
I'm-
texted you about it just to
Yeah.
make sure we were cool. Like, his wife had to, like, move to Colorado for extended periods of time to see a doctor. Like, to, it's when you're 17, you think like, oh, if you just have sex without a condom, you just have a kid.
Yeah, oh, for sure.
It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
At that point, you're trying not to. Have a
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I didn't realize. I had the same thing. My wife's insides were a rocky place where my seed could find no purchase.
Do you get that?
And
Have you seen Raising Arizona?
No.
oh, is that from Raising Arizona? I thought I made that up. No. Yes. So, but ours was, I think it was a little easier than Jake's, and it sounds like yours is tougher. Or do you need a man to step in? Because I can help.
I would be honored.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I don't know. It's just you're the only other person I know that's been through the sort of thing that I went through, and yours is obviously a little bit more challenging. And I don't know. I feel like we've bonded over it.
Yeah,
over the past couple years.
It's well, and we have, and I appreciate you always being a sounding board. Yeah, in some ways, the last 3 years have been awesome, but in one really big way, it's been miserable. We had our first miscarriage in May of 2020, and learned at that point that my wife had a number of medical conditions that would make conceiving a baby naturally virtually impossible, and went down the
Is this the fun you wanted to get into? What are we doing here?
No,
I think this is
a real conversation.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like whenever I first brought this up on the air, whenever we were still at the ticket, there were a ton of people that reached out to me, and they were like, it felt good to hear someone talk about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And, I mean, you can ask whatever questions you want. I won't give I'll give the highest rated sports talk show in the region bullet point without the context. But went down the IVF path here locally in DFW. Wasn't working. I don't think anything to do with the doctor we saw here. But wife wanted to just take another shot, different set of eyes, different protocols. And if we were going to do that, we figured we'd go all in. There's a clinic in Colorado that is, at the forefront of this sort of practice. And so we established with them right outside of Denver, and that's what Jake was referring to. I mean, there'd be times I think my wife last year around this time was just wrapping up about 8 straight weeks in Denver, and IVF, continued to unfortunately not work, and so now we have pursued surrogacy, and we are hoping that will work. But this has been, we found out, so it's 8. We've lost 8 embryos, 5 miscarriages, and baseball in a lot of ways has been a lifesaver for me because it is every day and it is over such a long period of time. It's been a good distraction, but and Jake can speak to this as well, and I know he had. There are times, no matter how much fun you have with the show or what great things are going on in your life, and over the last 3 years, I've learned to be so grateful for stuff, including my relationship with my wife and my friends and family and all the good. But there are days where it just doesn't seem like any of it matters. And it certainly has felt that way over time.
Have you had to do the shots?
Have I had to give her the shots? She didn't trust me. She would give herself the shots, which that was never the plan. The first shot, I'll never forget. We were in our living room. You have to watch this video, right? Because you just feel like if I'm 1 inch away, like I'm gonna, could I kill her? Like what's gonna happen? And I was so hesitant, and she just kind of took it from me. She's like, I'm gonna do it. She was frustrated because she was nervous, but I never gave a shot. She gave. My wife was. I remember I stepped on her toe once, and I would have thought that World War VII started. And I remember thinking you are such a baby, To me, toughness is playing sports through an injury or something like that. I have a new respect. My wife is a badass. She probably couldn't make a layup if you gave her 10 shots. I don't know if she could get the ball up to the rim, but going through what she's gone through and seeing her do it, and largely doing it without me around because of baseball, she is special, and I want this for us. But I really want it for her because I'll just be honest, the issues that have got us to this point are her issues, and I know that no matter what I say, she feels
Let's
a
just
burden.
make that clear, Jared.
No. But that's another part of it.
Dan
That's
used
another
to ask
element.
me that all the time. He's like, whose fault is it?
Yeah.
And
Who's firing blanks, bro?
That's
not mine.
And that's a burden,
Technically.
right? That's another
for sure.
that makes the dynamic a little
For sure.
trickier to navigate. So
Yeah. It's good to use in arguments, though, as a trump card.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't even have a kid.
You know, eventually I like doing the shots.
Giving
So you
her
did
the
'em?
shots?
Oh, yeah. Probably 90 straight days.
Well, you like pimple popping and all that kind of stuff, too. Do you
Eventually,
like that, Jared?
you just.
no, but my wife does, so
okay.
maybe it makes sense.
See, yeah,
Yeah.
seriously. Did you think about adopting? Because we were having problems, and I feel bad. First of all, my wife didn't want to because of
It's a
something in ladies,
female
right?
thing, yeah.
It's my thing, the clock. And then I didn't know if I wanted to, just to be honest. And I feel terrible that I'm that person, that I'm a person that
I don't think you should feel terrible. I think that's a natural, instinctual thing.
But I mean, logically, just let's talk logic.
Yeah.
There's a ton of unwanted kids and unwanted pregnancies, and we wanted a pregnancy and couldn't get one, and hey, we could help the world. Or it's a higher level of going to the shelter or buying a poodle, you know?
Or a ragdoll cat.
Yeah, seriously. So was that kind of the same thing? Ladies' clocks are ticking, and you're thinking, I need my own blood. I need my
My seed.
So I think we've had this conversation, and because we could have our own kids. I mean, we could have her eggs, my sperm. That wasn't an issue. It was just a matter of actually carrying a child or getting pregnant, carrying a child. I think at first all our efforts were just on that. I think in the last year and a half we've had more conversations. I mean, like I said, we're going through a surrogacy. Surrogacy is not cheap at all. And if we want multiple kids and this is our only path, is it feasible? Can we legitimately afford that without putting ourselves in a compromised position? Well, all right, maybe adoption's what we would do. It's something we talked about. I'll be totally honest. Dan, I think what you said is kind of how I felt. I felt guilty that it wasn't something I was jumping for joy to do. Travis Jankowski, who obviously played for the Rangers this year, he adopted one of his now 4 kids, and my wife and his wife got into a conversation about that, and it encouraged me to talk to Travis about that. And before a game earlier this year, we had a 40-minute conversation. I picked his brain because he was in the same place. He never wanted to adopt. And it got to a point where even when they were close to making that decision, he was having a lot of second thoughts. And we just had a really powerful conversation. And I'm not there yet, but I'm closer to being there than I think I ever have been, if that makes sense.
It is cool to see your traits or your wife's traits in a kid. Because, I have my older kid is more my wife, and my younger kid is more like me. But you also, the adoption thing, you got to worry, Blake, that you get a Dexter, because that Dexter was adopted, right?
3 days in a row.
You're just worried about.
Is this how you bring me into this conversation?
But what
You
kind of
try
a-
to relate it to a TV show that I like?
Well, you're the only one here that can just have a baby and not even worry about it, which is
yeah.
makes
Sorry?
you the real man in the room.
Sorry?
I believe. Or your wife is the real woman in the room.
Yeah, she told me she was a fertile myrtle. Turns out she was.
I'd love to mark that, Beth. Do you have a long-term contract, or do you go year by year?
He's not going to answer that.
How about I'll ask questions and we don't tell him how to answer it? Just because I'm wondering the financial aspect. I would guess surrogate is $100,000, if not more.
That is accurate.
And you have to deal with an agent.
Yeah, the surrogacy process is very bizarre.
You don't. I don't know what you mean with an agent.
Well, there's he can.
Okay, there are a lot of different ways. I mean, the one way to go about it is someone is aware of your story and says, "Hey, I will carry your baby," and that eliminates a lot of stuff. But then there's
You want $100,000, Blake?
Well, he can't carry a baby.
No, I mean he's got a fertile myrtle though. Yeah.
No, but that's like what it would like.
Yeah.
And
It would be a friend of yours, and they're
or like I think what my wife and I
that
decided
would be
was
an interesting thing, though, to see that if you were really close friends.
Yeah.
And you would see this kid, and does that person feel like a motherly
Connection.
And is there some kind of a legal?
for sure.
That was a problem with adoption in the States, is what I understand too. Is like legally they'll always possibly have a tie to their real parents.
Well, and I think that's the reason you go through a third party.
Yeah, there's all sorts of legal paperwork and everything, and there's certain states that have laws for surrogacy that still allow the surrogate to claim the baby at birth. So, like, you can go through the whole process, pay them all this money, and then the baby can pop out, and they see the baby that they just gave birth to, and they can decide, I don't want to give you the baby, and we have no legal standing.
That's
so
the law, really?
in certain states. So we have
Even
to,
though, like,
yeah.
genetically, it's not the
Right,
surrogate's baby at all.
But also, that seems very odd, because if you've ever known a pregnant lady,
Very
who's
emotional.
just giving, is that the state of mind you want to be making a life
Right.
decision?
Right.
So that's why you have an agency can help guide you, or a lawyer. But there are all sorts of parts of the process. I mean, it's just life, but like it's a business for these people, and it's an opportunity for people, and there are people who make decent money, I guess, in inserting themselves in the middle of this chain. But the surrogates themselves are, I mean, yes, they make money, but we have, like, my wife and I have zero issue paying a surrogate for carrying our baby and giving us the opportunity to be parents. But then you get an agency involved and whatnot, and they help, but man, they definitely. I'll say this: if anyone listening is considering surrogacy, I would love to talk to them and just explain what we've learned. Because when you buy a house, you can ask like your friend or whatever, and like chances are, parents, someone's bought a house. There are people who do surrogacy. It doesn't get talked about a lot, and it's not like you can look to your right or left and say, hey, what was your surrogacy experience like? What are the pitfalls? What are the things I need to be prepared for?
Did Kim Kardashian do that?
Yeah, after either the second or third one, I think
Okay.
she was medically at risk. Which is a lot of times, I mean, like what he's saying, it can be fatal.
Yeah. So it's been an interesting experience. They don't give you, when you're picking your surrogate, it's not like they give you a restaurant menu and say, here's Susie, Beth, Sally, and Heather, and take your pick. It's like, here's door number one. If you like door number, at least this was our experience. If you like door number one, great. That's who you're going to move forward with, or you move forward with a chance of matching with them.
Then you got to meet her, talk, interview her, all that.
If you don't like door number one, that's fine, but you don't know what is behind door number two.
What will she do? Will she eat terribly? Will
Organic.
That's all part. And then you have when you do the contract stuff, in theory, we could say, Dan, you have to eat pizza every single day. We have read that is what is best for a pregnancy, and I mean that you can agree to it or you don't. Like a surrogate could say, hey, my fee's $100,000, and they can do whatever they want.
They could get drunk.
They could say, I mean, some of these contracts, it's like, this is our fee. You're going to give us a monthly stipend for clothes, a monthly stipend for food. You're going to pay for a push present. You're going to pay for a spa retreat because, my mental well-being is important to pregnancy. They can request, I want Mavs season tickets. They can request that.
A rider.
Yeah. It's just a matter of, will someone say yes to that? But you got these desperate couples who just so badly want to be parents. I mean, to be honest, they could say a lot, and like we're probably going to do it because we want the opportunity to be parents.
Yeah, how far are you in the process? Have you met anyone yet?
Yeah, so we have a surrogate. my wife sat with her Game 3 of the World Series. Our surrogate happens to be in Mesa, Arizona. Her name is Robin, and it was the first time they had met in person. They text frequently. I met her briefly after the game, and we are set here in the next month, hopefully, for her to have a transfer to then potentially become pregnant.
Damn.
Yeah.
It's so crazy.
It's
Well,
been
that
a long
sounds
process.
so. I used to complain that my wife wanting to have a kid, it was very technical, and she'd be like, "When are you leaving for work? In 15
Now.
minutes? Actually, today's a good day. Can we go?" And then she'd make me have sex with her, which I would have thought as a kid or younger,
It'd be great.
That'll be awesome.
Yeah.
And it was just so like
Just
I don't know.
formulaic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would complain about that being like a too scientific, technical type scene. But now you're saying I will place the egg in you with the sperm, and that's there's no romance there. That's she doesn't even get dinner.
Yeah, well,
She
our
got
surrogate,
game-
our
she went-
surrogate
she
gets
went to
plenty
game
of money.
3.
Yeah, she did go to game
Yeah.
3.
She got game 3, and she's getting
And that was a good one
compensated.
for Arizona, wasn't it? Did Arizona win?
No. Rangers won that one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I
You'll always have that story for the for little. Have you already picked out a name?
yeah, we have yes. I mean, we've honestly we're 0 for 8, so we've had plenty of time and opportunity to think about this. Yeah, we do have
Go ahead.
a boy and a girl name depending on what it would be. I will not reveal it.
Oh.
Yeah, sorry.
Bruce.
I would get in a lot of trouble. In the Jewish religion, you don't share names beforehand usually.
Jewish religion. So Jewish South African. That's your dad.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess I don't know anything about. I don't label people like Jake does.
Yeah,
I
for
don't
sure.
understand
Okay.
how people come from. Is there a lot of Jewish people in South Africa?
There's a strong Jewish population there.
Okay. Sweet.
They had to go somewhere.
Whoa.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a hardcore statement there.
Is that not true?
No, it's
Was there
true.
not like
No,
a
it's true.
diaspora?
Yep, that's true.
Yeah. Thank
Okay.
you.
I don't know what you just said. So
I
how
believe
long?
that's one of the most heavily populated Jewish populations on Earth.
South Africa?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a
The diaspora moves from World War II. That was a popular place.
Diaspora? I
Yeah.
don't know what that is. I've never heard that word.
I don't know that I know how to define it, but just like
They're
The
like,
Jew-
hey, we got to get out of here. This ain't good.
how
Where
would
can
you
we go?
Can you help me?
I think you're doing great.
Okay. Yeah.
I've always heard it. I don't know if this makes a difference. I've always heard it pronounced diaspora. I don't know.
Diaspora, okay.
So maybe, but
I've
yeah, I
never
think
heard that,
it's
I don't hear of a lot of things.
the migrant. I know.
Okay.
It's fine. You know what?
Yeah.
I shouldn't have said anything.
But they're like, this is a bad bit. We better go somewhere.
We're gonna leave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
This
so
is-
there's like,
this is a bad
how about
bit.
South Africa? It's warm.
There are also
Yeah,
a lot of
sure.
Ethiopian Jews. Thought you'd enjoy that.
Okay. Is that
Why would you think he would enjoy that?
Just there are elements there that I think would fascinate Dan.
Ethiopians real hungry people?
What did you just say?
You know what I meant. I think everybody know what I meant. Your thoughts
Diaspora.
on Bruce Bochy finishing second and not first for the American League Manager of the Year?
It's horse crap.
Yeah?
All the Rangers should win all the awards. I don't care about what's fair and what's right. No, that's right. Brandon Hyde deserved it. It's a regular season award. They won 101 games. He has helped turn around an organization.
Plus, the Rangers just bought their championship. It doesn't matter.
Don't
Right?
even get
It's
me
not like
started
Bochy
on
did
that.
anything.
Are those awards regular season awards? Because we hear about that a lot in the NBA.
He kind of just said
Oh,
that.
did he? Okay.
Yeah.
Just sorry.
Probably 15
Just
seconds
clarifying.
ago.
Not even that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Jared.
Sorry, Blake.
I was doing some stuff over here.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Carry
no, just
on.
to, they
Sorry.
are.
Thanks
it is
for
a regular
checking in,
season
Blake.
award.
Pre-trailer.
I'll,
For those who are
mute.
watching the video and not listening just to the audio, you'll note that Jake's camera is great, and Jake is the one who didn't want to do a video today because of the light.
Yeah.
I'm going to be out of town. I'm going to Clemson over the weekend. So I'm not sure that our hotel will have adequate internet for me to do a video stream, and that's
You're
why
gonna go
we
meet
chose.
up with what was the guy's name? They called Dabo.
Oh, I don't remember. But I am
It's something
preparing for the
funny.
possibility of hotel sex.
Oh.
So I've been storing it up. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Yeah.
Jared knows among
All
all
about
of
it.
us. On today's show, Jared, we're going to do some news. We'll do some Today in History. I have a little bit of Business Wednesday for you. And I wanted to follow up on Damaris real quick and do this in a video fashion.
Okay.
You have a thought on the Damaris James Harden rant? Did you hear that the other day?
I agree with everything you guys said. Was it yesterday? Deleting it only gives it more publicity. B, I don't think he said anything in there that was incorrect.
Okay. I would like to show you guys the video, but I think the audio will be good too. So this is the thought of the NBA. I mean, obviously, so Bally deleted the rant. So Brian Damaris went on a rant, said, James Harden, this is ridiculous. You're on your 50th team. It looks like the problem might be you. Basically, he said that over a 2-minute rant.
Very insightful.
And it went viral. It was a very, things go viral for all sorts of different reasons, and this one went viral this week. And Bally, in fact, was pushing it. And then someone, certainly someone in high up management, because we know that those are the most skittish, are like, I think we should delete that. Let's just take that off.
Yeah, probably a team called,
possibly.
That's what I would imagine.
Yeah, maybe
happened.
Cuban called. Maybe Cuban
or
didn't like it.
Whatever Bally, L.A. I don't know what their network is called, but something like that. Yeah.
The thought is along the same lines of the MLB one we talked about the other day too. Just the TV partner doesn't want to be upsetting their partner.
Sure.
Hey, we broadcast your games. I think of it as we pay you an S-load of money to broadcast your games. We'll do it how we want to. They think of it, though, as what if we lose them next broadcast rights time around? That's why we don't want to just do anything we can as a,
Yeah, I mean, I get that, but where are they going to go?
That's why I don't think Bally should have deleted.
Yeah, I just don't know how many options these leagues have to actually take their rights.
Well,
what are they going to do?
This piece of video I want to show you.
K-Star 49?
And audio to listen. I want you to watch this because, this is, they're doing the Shacked in a Fool.
Mm.
You like that?
I'm a huge fan of Shacked in a Fool, yeah.
Okay. And
JaVale McGee, 20-time superstar of Shacked in a Fool.
Well, number one is the newest Clipper.
Okay.
James Harden. So let's take a look at the video, and hopefully the audio will be good as well. All right, here we go.
Oh, my gosh.
And number one, James Harden.
Can you see that?
Warning, the Harden system does not include winning basketball.
Come on, he's just in the system.
I'm the system, Ernie.
Airball.
I'm the system, Ernie.
He gets blocked.
Kind of giving up on a play.
But the other one, changing your tune.
Throwing that to Iron Eagle.
Oh, that's a funny one.
Yeah.
He ain't been playing basketball for 2 months.
I am the
Showing
system.
Tyronn Lue shrugging.
I am the system, Ernie.
He ain't Harden yet. He's James.
The video's well done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we've seen these before.
Andre Drummond's a popular one, too.
Yeah.
But that's the biggest NBA show. They're allowed to make fun of and rip James Harden.
Right, but
Like
Bally
regional
is all
cable
worried.
network can't.
But like Jake said, they're players.
That's the thing I didn't think about. An ex-player at that level as well.
Yeah.
That's why Shaq can just rip everybody. And Barkley, too, for that matter.
Yeah. No, that's the best. Well, and that's the best show, too, because they just let them do their
let
thing.
him go. Like, whereas if it's Damaris, they're like, Harden gets mad about it and pops off back. I think he responded.
Who?
Right? James Harden.
To what?
To Damaris.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think he had a response.
Like
I
audio
don't think
or?
there was. I don't think there was audio, but
I'm interested if you find that. The what Bally's going to do is an interesting question because we're learning now that Bally is obviously they're bankrupt.
yes,
And they've got one more year left, I think, with the NBA teams or the local
yeah,
teams.
it got cut short. It was supposed to go through 2025, but I believe in the bankruptcy court, they cut it down to just 2023, 2024.
And I believe that it's just been announced that the Rangers also, baseball, they're out. The Bally's going to be out after 2024, pending approval. So next year, Rangers still on Bally. And then they are looking for a new TV partner. And you just have to wonder. You wondered when these things were signed. Back in 2010, the Rangers signed the 20-year, $3 billion deal. And obviously, now they've gone bankrupt, so 7 years left on that deal, or 6 years after next year. And the Rangers will have to have a new TV partner. Are they going to be able to get locally $111 million? That's what they made last year from Bally. And that is where the real inequity in baseball is with local TV markets. Would you agree with that, Mr. Baseball?
Yeah, I remember when the Rangers signed that deal, that's what people were talking about, how that was going to help them competitively, and then other deals were signed, and maybe that deal wasn't as great moving. It's
why Pittsburgh can't compete with the Yankees. It's why Tampa.
Yeah.
There's not, in the NFL, it's complete revenue sharing on their
across
broadcast.
the board. Does that have anything to do with when the Astros started to get better? I mean, obviously, I know they stripped down. They had a ton of picks, but didn't they used to get like 0.0s?
They did.
Did they change rights providers?
Well, ratings don't equal getting money. So if they were getting 0.0s at the time their local contract
come up for
ran
negotiation, it doesn't?
Yeah. I mean, baseball's always still been pretty big just because it's hours.
Yeah, that's true. And there's a ton of games.
Yeah. It's like getting a starting pitcher eating innings. I'm trying to relate to Jared here so he can understand what I'm saying.
So the Harden quote is, I didn't even hear exactly what he said, but people were telling me he was going in on me. Harden told Bleacher Report. He doesn't know me or the situation. That would be effed up if I went at him and started being disrespectful to him, but I can't. They don't know anything. They just go off what they see on social media or hearsay. I mean, he might be going off the fact that you chucked a ball from the deep left corner to Iron Eagle.
But he saw that on social media.
Yes. I don't exactly know what he said, but I pay that S no mind. I do a really good job at ignoring the noise because it doesn't affect me. It's just people talking. I guarantee if you put whoever is talking in this situation, it wouldn't be beneficial for them. That's my mindset. My focus is getting wins.
Well, you're not doing that.
You're not doing that. No.
I think you could call BS on that last line.
Yes, I think you're correct.
It's hilarious.
It is hilarious.
The whole
and I've reached out to Brian like 4 times and he won't answer me.
But this came up when we talked about Quinn and
just
Williams
tell me.
Last week. Is these players don't hear this stuff.
No, they
people
just see
tell them
exactly
and
like
probably exaggerate the
thing.
story. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you're right.
As he said, he just heard Damaris going in on him.
So I wanted to talk about Jared versus Coop.
Oh, gosh.
But
I forgot about that.
Yeah, me too.
I wanted to just say that Coop, who is also known as Sports Delicus on Twitter, he loves to get in any fight.
He does.
I'm sure you've talked to Newberg in the past over.
Yes.
The Coop Newberg fight is legendary. Yours couldn't quite live up to that.
What can?
But Coop last night, this amused me heavily. So, did you watch any of the Mavs game?
I did.
They got run.
They did.
But it was at the
Tough
Pelicans, and you know the thing about the NBA in-season tournament is the
court.
The wacky court is a big part of it. I don't know why, but it does set itself apart.
Luka, not a fan.
Nope.
Did you see those comments?
What did he say?
That the ball was bouncing weird.
Oh, really?
And it was slippery.
Yeah. Which kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Like if you just randomly throw in a court for 7 games a year.
Well, the Mavs had a problem with theirs last week. Like
last
didn't go right.
Friday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it the 3-point line was too short?
Grant Williams, right? He pointed that out. He was like, this is not right. The arc is wrong.
Well, what would you guys think? What do you think Coop thinks about the new courts? Do you think he's...
I have a pretty good idea.
Yeah, but he's...
He tweeted out a picture, like 3 pictures of it.
Yeah.
and he says, "Pray for me."
Oh,
This is what I'm going to have to fight through to tell you what's happening tonight.
Poor Coop.
Yeah,
And then he promoted
the broadcast.
the broadcast.
yeah. The play-by-play guy hates different color schemes.
You know what? I'm with Coop on this. It sucks.
Hey,
It makes
Coop can be right.
From time to time.
Just from like a viewing standpoint?
I don't like it at all.
Yeah. No, I don't
Yeah.
either.
And I understand people that are like, oh, what's the big deal? Why are you complaining about it so much? I just think it looks terrible on television. Chromatically, I think it looks bad on TV. It's distracting. Like, just tell me it's an in-season NBA Cup game. Okay.
You can have a different court, but not have it look like
Yeah.
someone just did a Jackson Pollock or something. Like,
Exactly. Just put a trophy on there.
yeah.
It looks terrible.
Yeah, it could be slightly different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. You want to do some news now?
Sure.
Okay. Trying to figure out the run sheet here today.
Here's Jake.
I'm all thrown
with
off
the
by Jared.
Dumb Zone News.
Don't be scared.
Am I not
Jared.
He brought us pizza,
I know he's the nicest guy in the
and
world.
no one else here has eaten pizza. I killed like a half a pizza a few minutes ago, or an hour ago.
I'll
now.
take mine with me.
And I just feel bad, Jared, that nobody wants to eat your pizza.
Well, what
That's
I
the
feel
only reason I ate so much.
So I feel badly about this. I asked because I know, Dan, you have certain eating tastes. and
Dietary.
yeah. And Jake, I didn't realize you weren't doing red meat, but I knew that you were not
trying.
going to have the same pizza that Dan was going to have. But then no one told me anything about Blake.
I
Or
don't
Blake
care.
never.
I don't care.
Yeah, he won't eat in front of us.
Have you just given up? You look like you just like given up on today.
Just in life? Oh, about today?
Yeah, man. Ever since you walked in.
He's
I
not
think I'm-
wrong.
I think I'm doing okay today.
Okay.
No, I don't care. I'll let these two pick their pizza and I'll eat from that.
What do you got going tonight?
Just putting together a podcast.
Okay, so you're not driving to. You do look extra nice. Is this because of Jake yesterday?
He made me feel bad.
All right.
Look, again, there's something in between.
I thought he looked fine yesterday.
Delina Martin
right.
and her husband Jeremy cried as they stood outside of Cook's Children's Medical Center in Fort Worth as a lead from the story at WFAA. Their 2-year-old daughter was in the hospital Friday evening, attacked by another family's pit bull. Don't you feel like we get like one of these locally every 6 months and everybody has to fight about pit bulls?
Oh, yeah. Was it Zeke's?
The Pitbull,
I don't think it was Zeke or Dax.
the Pitbull lobby will tell you how they're actually great dogs. and
Yeah.
It's just, it's only 1,200 bad apples. That's you can't judge them all on that.
Yeah, this is a really sad story because the parents told Channel 8 that they voluntarily placed their daughter in the care of their family friends after relapsing from their drug addiction. Yeah. And 2 weeks later, a family pit bull inside of her temporary home lunged at the toddler from across the room and attacked her. The mom said it then got the taste of blood in her mouth and went crazy.
Is the kid alive?
Yeah. But, yeah. Crushed her facial bones, all the tissue under the skin, completely detached from the skull. Lip had to be sewn back in, nostrils back in.
Jeez.
Yeah.
So you wonder.
Dude, a dog and a 2-year-old. I mean, my
Yeah.
dog could do
Yeah.
that. Dog could do that to a 2-year-old.
You know, we were wondering, or we've talked about. Have we talked about this? Why do you take your kid to Disney World if your kid's 2 or 3? They won't remember it.
Sometimes they get eaten by a gator.
Yeah, sometimes that. But I always think it's fine to do things with your little kid, even if they're not in the age where you think they'll remember it, because you're still like, what do? Do you not take them
Did you do nothing?
on Halloween?
Library
Do you
or-
not
yeah.
go see Santa at Christmas? Do you not whatever? So yeah,
Gotta do
you go to
something.
it all builds up. It's all part of them. Like, does this scar them for life if they're 2?
Well, physically, probably yes, but mentally, I'm not sure. Like, I think my first memory was probably 4.
I feel like the tail end of 4 for me as well.
Yeah.
What's your first memory, Jared? Was it Eric Nadel calling a?
It was.
Or,
No,
who's the one that we want to criticize because it's funny? Holtz.
Mark Holtz?
Yeah, you can't criticize Mark Holtz.
No, you can't. I can't.
I just want to say
I'm not going to.
I just know
You
that's.
want to rip Holtzy.
Look. Was he that? No, I'm just kidding. Like just Bluebell ice cream, Mark Holtz,
Dr. Pepper.
There's just a few things around here you cannot say
touch.
anything bad
Whataburger.
about.
Yeah.
I had a glass table fall on me when I was like 2, and I think there are other reasons why I have a big nose, but it like totally. What's that? It totally messed up my nose, but I don't have any. I really don't have any recollection of that. I have this vague, like, I know it happened, but I think what I picture in my mind is far from what actually happened, if that makes sense. So I don't think I really had. What's that?
It's just like a construct that you.
I think our kids
recreated in your
nowadays get a memory placed within them, and especially if you watch videos from when they're babies together,
Yeah.
like they remember it through the video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of jogs your memory a little bit. That makes sense. Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I worry, and I know everybody thinks that their kid is smarter than they are or more capable than they are, but sometimes I actually worry that my daughter's memory is really good.
Worry.
Because you'll snap at her or something, and
Yeah, she'll just bring stuff up from like a year and a half, 2 years ago.
oh yeah,
And I'm like, whoa.
and it will be the
How
most.
did you remember
they don't
that?
because you'll have 8,000 days in a row of bliss.
Yeah.
And then
One bad
she'll
thing.
be like, yeah, and then it'll be like in front of your friends, don't yank my arm again like you did.
Yeah.
Like, whoa, when?
Hey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, there's those people, like there was that 60 Minutes episode. There's people that remember like every day of their life.
Like, how did I not do this in front of my parents' friends? Like, hey, don't hit me with a belt again. Like,
yeah. No,
although
no more backhands.
back then, I guess they wouldn't have cared. They'd been like, yeah, good. You
And then
belted
you
him?
deserved
You would have gotten the belt again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For bringing up the
Yeah.
belt.
That's true, yeah.
So anyways, this kid got attacked by a dog.
Yeah, that's no good. Thumbs down.
Thumbs down indeed. You know, it is kind of weird though if you just imagine like do you have a dog?
Yes.
Okay.
Little dog. Kind of
Little dog?
size of Dan's dogs.
Kip and Bodie-ish.
Yep. Cooper.
It is a bit odd.
Cooper.
The funniest.
The best dog.
Named of course.
It is a bit odd if you think about the fact that we just like I've got a 1-year-old in my house and there's just a 80-pound beast that just roams around the home.
That was in our consideration when getting a dog.
The dog just beating on
The
it
first
with a
dog we
spatula,
got
and I'm like,
was
I
back
guess,
in
yeah.
the day when we were trying to have our first kid, and it was like, well, we need something small because we don't need it, dominating the kid.
Yeah, they battle it out. for
And your
whatever-
dog doesn't know.
No.
It's just dumb.
Chuck E. Cheese is removing all animatronics from all
No.
locations except for one.
Why?
Fort Worth.
No, it will be in Los Angeles. Do you know what the E in Chuck E. Cheese stands for?
I think I've heard this.
I think it was.
What is it?
It
I've
came up
mentioned
here.
it many times. So,
Go on.
the actual name of the business is Charles Entertainment Cheese.
Now, you used to say that you actually liked the pizza.
I do, and I used to have an apartment by Grapevine Mills, and we would go there and pick it up.
Like, they're like, really?
Yeah,
You go to the ball pit after you finish your pizza.
just the piss ball pit. So
when I
good.
was younger, I didn't think about how disgusting the ball pit must be.
No, I don't think anybody does.
But now it's like,
Yeah, you walk over there and it just smells of urine. It's still a fun place to take kids, though. We've been 3 or 4 times. She loves it.
Oh, yeah.
Not cheap.
Well, and that's the pizza's not good. Let's just be honest.
Okay, agree to disagree. I like it.
Hey, sorry. What are animatronics?
You
Is
know,
that
like
is that a
the
bad question?
the band.
The robot.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
They're up there doing
Yeah.
that while you're eating your pizza.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's playing drums or
Yeah, the curtain.
Yeah.
It's been
It
a while.
opens, yeah.
No kids.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of like their hallmark, right? I mean that's what you think of when you think of Charles Entertainment Cheese. You think of the animatronics.
Yeah, you walk in, you got all the games, and then down there
In
you
the
got all the
back, yeah.
seating with the stage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know they used to serve beer.
Is that why they don't anymore?
I don't know.
No, I knew they served beer.
The last time I went there, I was certainly not looking to drink, but I do remember whenever I was a kid, like we would go there with my dad or my stepdad and one of his friends, and they would just get a pitcher.
Oh yeah,
Like, what are we doing?
that's the whole point.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah. Is the real reason you had kids so you wouldn't stand out anymore when you just went to Chuck E. Cheese?
Yes. Yeah.
Because that's like the coach that doesn't have a kid on the team.
Right.
Just going to Chuck E. Cheese without a kid.
Right. Get a Keystone Light pitcher and a pizza and
Just kind of
play
sit
a
there
little Ninja Turtles.
looking at the ball pit, taking pictures.
Let's do one more. This is a wild, wild story. There are new details being released about the death of a missing McKinney woman and her boyfriend. He was arrested after her body was found in his house in the fridge. 35-year-old.
Not the freezer.
No. And also, I find it, I don't know like exactly what AP Style says about this, but I find putting fridge in a headline like
Right.
highly informal. Like, shouldn't it say refrigerator?
You would think, yeah.
Missing McKinney woman's body found in boyfriend's fridge.
Maybe they just
Perhaps
ran
space.
out of room.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's been missing since June. According to an arrest warrant affidavit, her mom told investigators that they had not seen her daughter. She had not seen her daughter for about a year, and now they have. They found her body.
Is foul play suspected?
Yeah, I'm just gonna
I mean,
bet that anytime someone is
she's
found
got
in quote the
stuck.
fridge,
She could have gotten
stuck. Yeah, I've seen those videos. That's
Is that a
more of
category?
more of a washer or dryer thing, I think.
What does that
probably.
mean?
And it's a category.
Explain this video.
You never seen like an adult film where someone's like they get snuck up on when they're like doing laundry?
No.
Sounds like he has.
They're stuck, but so they're like they lean into
Yeah.
the washing machine and get
Yeah. And
stuck,
they're like, oh.
and then somebody kind of comes up behind him and just says, "Hey, I'll take advantage of this situation."
Yeah.
Sounds to me like a rape video.
Yeah, why are
Well,
you into
I
that?
mean, I just want to show you guys this photo. Do you guys? Here, let me move this real quick.
Screen share it.
Do you guys think this guy looks guilty?
Is that the fridge guy?
Yeah. He looks like he knows he's in trouble.
I'd like to hear
Hear
his
his
side of
side
the
of
story.
story.
Yeah, I mean, what was she doing? Did she deserve the fridge?
Oh man. How long have we been going? Should we take a break?
We should take a break.
Jeez, okay.
You asked.
The Dumb Zone News.
I gotta show this picture.
Like and subscribe.
That was a good news.
We'll share that picture after the break, okay?
And it was because of the debates. That's what did it, dude. That's how we got Trump, these debates. And the first one is the best one. So it's a Republican primary. Everyone's up on stage, and they're all still doing their political shit. So, like, the first couple guys that talk are like, I'm from Kentucky, and I love education. And the crowd's like, nice. We didn't know what was coming. And then the next guy's like, I'm from Georgia, and I love religion. And the crowd's like, pretty good. This is a good one. This is a heated debate. And then it finally got to Trump's turn to talk, and he was just like, Rand Paul is ugly? And the whole crowd was like, oh! We didn't know you could do that in this. You can just do that as your thing? And Rand Paul was like, all right, everybody, settle down. We're trying to have a debate here. And the whole crowd was like, shut the f*** up, Rand Paul. Ugly bitch. And we just kept throwing dorks up on stage to make them debate Trump. It was not fair. It was mean for us to have done that to people. These guys were in politics their whole lives. And they just had to debate a fucking maniac up there who didn't give a dude. And I hate to, it was fun to cheer for him in the debates. It was fun to cheer for him in the debates because he was going up against guys that had been in politics for like 40 years, and then he showed up to the event like, oh, what are we talking about? Like, it was like, he had no clue. Every week he had no idea. There's one debate. He's like in the middle of it, going back and forth about the economy with Ted Cruz. They're literally talking about the economy, and in the middle of it, he's just like, Ted's wife, ugly as a dog. Like, dude. Holy shit, dude. And Ted was like, I'm from Texas. You don't talk about a man's family like that. You've got a dog wife, Ted. It was like, everyone knows. Yeah, and a week later, Ted Cruz was on TV like, I support Donald J. It's like,
You're listening to The Dumb Zone.
Yeah, that's right, you are. Blake ate a piece of pizza. Brought to us by Jared Sandler.
Of 105.3 The Fan.
That's right.
Thanks for the pizza, Jared.
You got it, Blake. I hope you enjoy it.
I did.
Oh, you already had some?
Yeah.
Which one did you go for?
I've never seen him eat a pizza when we buy it.
I went with the chicken.
No puppet.
By the way, for all our guests, we give them a butter injectable butter and jalapeno Tony Chachere's.
Yeah,
Chachere's.
with Thanksgiving coming up, you can inject your turkey there. There's
right.
There's actually a like a syringe on the side.
Well, I got gifts for y'all.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I feel so bad because that's kind of just a bit.
And
I
I didn't want to do it on air because I didn't want it to come off as like a gimmick. I genuinely we over-ordered these, so I'm just giving them away to people I like. It's shirts for the Sandlot Children's Charity.
Nice.
How about this guy?
Dan, I was told you're an XL,
He's
right?
just trying to plug the charity.
Large for Jake.
I
No,
know
we don't have to talk
he's
about it.
just-
XL for Dan.
All right.
How about the fact that this guy
Heck yeah. That's
Has
a
a-
soft shirt.
has a charity?
Yeah.
Like
I know.
how
Thank you.
terrible can we feel about ourselves?
Well,
pretty terribly.
we donate a lot of money to various lawyers around the area
You do, yeah.
in the past.
So
That
I've
is
heard.
true. That is true.
Well, thanks, Jared.
Thank you guys.
Do you want to plug your event? Is it?
I mean, I can't.
Not really for
I
the
literally
public.
did not bring the shirts for that. Like, I was trying to hand out the shirts before, and Dan said, "Well, just wait till we're on air." Yeah, I'll just plug the charity, the Sandlot Children's Charity. We support kids with physical and intellectual disabilities to help provide financial support so that they can take part in athletic and active programming. And so our big event is December 3rd. I believe you guys will be there, Blake. If you don't have any of your other side jobs, we'd love for you to be
See
there
what
too.
we got going on.
Globe Life Field will have
Still
the
never
World
be there.
Series trophy there. We are just about sold out of tables, but individual tickets are available. You can go to thesandlot.org for more information.
Thesandlot.org.
The
Not
Sandlot.
Sandlot.org. The
The
Sandlot.
Or you can just go to my Twitter. I obnoxiously tweet about my charity.
It's Thursday Cowboy game.
Yep, no Cowboy game on that Sunday, so you don't have to worry about missing the game or traffic across the street.
Okay.
I have Business Wednesday for you. Just a quick hit here. What do you think of self-checkout, Jared?
Oh, big fan.
Oh, okay. Well, there's a supermarket chain, a big one in England, which is getting rid of all their self-checkout things because, let's see, 28 stores in northern England, the supermarket called Booths, they're getting rid of that just because of a couple of things. We've talked about it before. Theft is one of those things that can occur. But theirs is also just that it takes time. You put alcohol in there, and you got to wait for someone to come over.
And type in the date.
If you have produce, obviously that's a big deal, right? Got to weigh your banana. I'll often buy one banana.
What?
I don't know if you guys know that, but I don't buy bananas. If I buy bananas, I'll have 4 black bananas in about a week or 2. So when I go to the store, especially after going to the gym or something, I'll stop at Kroger or whatever, and I'll get a banana because I think that's a good time for a banana.
Yeah, that's
And
the
have to
most
weigh it.
psychopath thing I've ever heard in my
That's really
life.
weird.
I've never heard of someone buying one banana before, ever.
So
I'll walk
you
in
rip
there.
it off the bunch,
Oh, yeah.
right?
And then I scan.
Is that allowed?
Scan
Yeah,
the
I don't
number,
know.
and you set the banana down, and it weighs it, and then charges me like 18 cents, and I run the card
I
for
didn't-
a banana.
I didn't know that bananas were sold by weight.
Oh, wait, you go to the store just for the banana. So you walk in and spend 18 cents?
So that's something
I
Kevin
have, yeah.
Spacey would do.
I thought that the bananas were sold by bunch.
Oh, no.
No, it's weighted.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that like some of the,
The
other
the
fruits and
organic
vegetables
ones.
are weighted.
No, they're sold by,
18 cents.
yeah.
Hey,
I have a grocery thing I need to get off my chest.
Please do. You come
This
to the right
is-
place.
Yes, I know.
That's right. Yes.
Apples, oranges are a little tougher because you'd have to unpeel it. I guess apples, you'd have to take a bite. But apples and grapes are 2 frequent purchases for me. And there are certain apples when you buy them, you can, or when you are buying, you can look and say, "Oh, that's not a good apple." But there are other apples that you can look at. They pass the test on the exterior, and then you bite into them, and they're dry or they got the brown stuff, and that seems like a total ripoff. I can't stand that. I don't know how to rectify that, but grapes. I love grapes. I think it should be totally acceptable when you have a bag of grapes to take 1 or 2 grapes
Little test.
and make sure that they are of okay quality. You're not taking a bunch. It's just literally like I'm taking 1 or 2.
Can't you tell by kind of touching it if it's squishy or
Well,
if you got a solid grape there, then you're usually pretty good.
so yes, I will. As there are
As a
certain
grape
grapes that are
purchaser,
tasteless though, like some green grapes.
Uh-huh.
They're just like without any taste, and I don't want that. Yes, the squishiness for sure, but I just feel like you should be able to have an idea of the quality of what you're getting, because once you buy them, I'm not going to drive back to the grocery store and say, "Hey,
No taste.
yeah,
Didn't you tell us that Chappie would consider produce to be just something you're allowed to eat while you're walking around the grocery store?
Oh yeah.
Like
oh yeah.
He might take a bunch of grapes and you guys just eat them.
Well, yeah. I mean,
Then you walk up with the stem thing.
there was that.
I've done that once or twice."
Also, he was a huge fan of the sample.
Oh, my
yes.
gosh.
Yeah, he would hit the samples very hard. You don't see those too often anymore.
No.
No, COVID. Blame COVID.
It's coming back.
You think so?
The what's the South Lake one that we go to?
Central Market?
Central Market is big sampling in the afternoon, Saturday afternoon. You probably go there too early.
Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah, because you're right. Over by the chips, they will sit something out.
Jake beats the system by going to the grocery store real early on a Saturday.
Can we just go back to the fact that he buys one banana?
I can't get that out of my head.
I've never heard of that in my life.
Do you get a bag or do you just walk out holding the banana?
No, I'll just walk out holding
Okay.
it. Sometimes you take a bag because you need somewhere to throw the peel when you're driving.
But like you can't my thing is the card. Like why don't you just take a quarter in there?
Can you?
Yeah. Some pennies.
Well, that's self-checkout. We're going to put a quarter.
What does one banana typically
They don't have a thing in
cost?
there?
They do.
Probably in the 20-cent range.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
I can't remember
quarter
the
let
last
him
time
keep
I
the-
bought something that was less than $1.
I feel bad if I go to like let's say 7-Eleven, their coffee's $1, 108. I feel bad swiping the card for 108.
Why? They're $1 billion corporation. Let them pay those fees.
I don't know. It just
Patreon's
feels
charging us 8.5%.
That's right. You should buy one banana at a time.
Yeah,
And
really
do the
hit 'em.
self-checkout. Oh, anyway, in this self-checkout story, there's so one of the reasons, too, is because they got a big petition, 250,000 signatures to call on the, replacement. Put people in there and not machines. We're tired of this.
Right.
And many of the people they interviewed here, I'll just point one out. A couple, they're both 70, talked about the fact that they like to have somebody to talk to.
That's a huge part of it.
And the things on the conveyor belt. And I just wanted to, this is my little problem. It is the good thing about the self-checkout is you don't get behind someone. First of all, if you're behind an old, you're going to now have a 1 in 10 chance that they got a checkbook.
Yeah.
And that there's going to be haggling about how much cash they can get back on the other end of this check.
Yeah. And
I can't believe that somebody in the world, let alone still has a checkbook, has it out while I'm in line. But yes, the talking to the cashier,
they like that,
is something I don't want a part of.
Yeah, and I mean, I've told you before, my Tom Thumb, I don't know if the guy can even speak.
This is the cold stare guy?
Yeah.
From like a year ago?
Yeah, and I will seek him out.
Because you don't want to speak, or because
Correct.
you love this game? Because you'll
it's
stare
probably
at
a little
him.
bit of both.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but I mean, I like the fact that he doesn't want to talk.
What if he has to give you some Monopoly things? Do you do the Monopoly at Tom Thumb when they have it?
What are you talking about?
You buy certain items, and they'll give you 5 Monopoly things.
Like McDonald's? Like what they used to do?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's the same thing, but it's like you get like my wife loves it.
I've never heard of this.
And you get like these little tiny, whatever, it's little
like a
cards.
game piece? Oh, okay.
Little cards, and then do they match and go onto your game board that you have at home? And then you can get like, win something. I don't know.
Never heard of grocery stores doing that.
Oh, Tom Thumb does it a lot. Yeah.
Never heard of that.
And then when you buy certain items,
One of you?
like you might want to buy the Minute Maid
banana?
rice instead of the other rice, because it'll give you 10 Monopoly things, and that one's only going to give you 4.
Okay. Never heard of that before. Interesting.
How many does one banana get you?
So, yes, I don't like talking to people, and that's another reason.
So
there's business.
My 90-year-old grandpa doesn't like the self-checkout because
there's dudes making out there.
No, Kroger will have like a lot of online coupons, or he'll walk and see like it's supposed to be 2 for $1, but that's an online-only coupon that he can't get on his phone.
Right.
So he needs that person to put it in for him or do the coupon or whatever. And I don't think he can do the self-checkout on his own anyway.
I always feel a little bit conflicted about whether or not I should thank the guy who's just kind of minding the self-checkout. There's like a guy or a lady who just kind of...
Well, they'll usually thank you on the way out.
Yeah, but it's like, you didn't do anything.
Well, they might have to run over if you have too many items, or you don't...
Or you have to buy booze or something like that. But for the most part, I feel like they just kind of stand there.
Are they guarding against theft, kind of?
Probably, yeah.
Have you ever violated?
I've
no.
Not. Uh-oh.
I did once. Midland, Michigan, making $20,000. And
so you intentionally violated?
I had one item left. And I looked at it tracks how much I was over $100. I was young in my grocery shopping days, and I had beef jerky, and it was a big bag, and it was going to be like $15. And in that moment, going from, say, 110 to we'll call it 130 seemed daunting.
Mm-hmm.
And I dropped it back in there, and I did not stop thinking about it for a week. And I went back to the grocery store. I never opened the jerky. I went back to the grocery store, and I didn't tell them that I'd walked out. I just said,
you just scanned it again and paid.
Yes.
God, that's the kind of guy that has a charity.
That's
right there.
Yeah,
100%.
he's also the kind of guy I'm not going to include in our heist.
Some people
I feel like he'll turn instantly.
Yeah.
These guys did it.
Prisoner's dilemma.
Yeah, back to prison. You want to follow up on that story now?
I want to set the record straight. There was no blanket.
Okay,
and there
so
was
Jared,
no request.
That's his
when he
problem
was
with this story.
a Norm intern, this is in San Antonio for Cowboys training camp. You went down with us.
Mm-hmm.
I guess got your own hotel room or slept
No,
on
I
Norm's?
shared with Norm and Donnie.
Okay.
Yeah. Which I learned years later that Donnie wasn't too pumped about, but Norm didn't really give him a choice.
Yeah, Norm doesn't care. I feel
No.
like Norm would
He's a rhino.
invite anyone in,
Yeah.
whatever, yeah. So it wasn't separate rooms. It was one room with Norm and Donovan in
No,
it?
it was two.
Like a suite.
A suite, and then I slept in the common middle area.
Okay.
On the couch.
And so now Donovan had nowhere to go.
Right.
Except his bed.
Yeah.
All right.
And I think in my recollection is it was his birthday, and we were going out for his birthday.
That makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Same birthday.
Early August.
Okay. All right.
August 5th?
Yeah, we went out. We went to a few different bars in the Riverwalk. My fake ID was working fine.
18?
No, I was 20. That's
20,
the thing. I was
okay.
so close. And then we went to a place called Mad Dogs, and I almost caught myself in a lie or my fake ID is a day before my birthday, or it was my fake ID that I used to have. And the bouncer made some comment, like let's say Dan, Jake, and Blake were ahead of me. He's like, oh, all these August birthdays. And I decided to open my mouth, and I said, no, you don't have to worry about me. I'm May. Well, I'm May 1st. My ID said April 30th.
Dang.
So he lets me in, and then 20 yards later, I feel a tap, and he says, when did you say your birthday was? And in that moment, thankfully, I was like, I knew what happened. I was like, oh, my birthday's April 30th. I was just, the guy behind me was May, and I was April. I knew you weren't going to have to deal with anymore. Like, I talked my way out of it. Dodged the bullet. That should have been my sign to just go home and call it a night. The next bar we went to was Coyote Ugly. I think we made the shift because Jerry Jones and his traveling party was there. Jerry, when we were getting there, was dancing on the bar tops, and I'm pretty sure was in the. I don't know that you kick Jerry Jones out of a bar, but he was in the process. My recollection was in the process of being asked to leave, and I gave the bartender or the bouncer my ID. He said, "Hold on." He went inside. 2 minutes later, a cop comes behind me, taps me on the shoulder. Is this yours? It is. Put your hands behind your back. Corby tried to tell the cop to F off. He's just an effing kid. That did not help my case, shockingly. And, 15 hours later.
All right, it feels like you're retelling this in a different version because I've always heard that you were very vocal against the guy trying to, like you were arguing with him that this is a good.
No, I didn't argue. I didn't know. No, not at all. What I should have done, so to fully understand it, at USC, there's one bar. I went to USC. There's one bar. I was a manager for the baseball team. The owner of the bar played college baseball. The guy threw my 21st birthday party. I had been going there for years. He was well aware, that I never needed to. I had no experience using my fake ID. And so I should have just left. But I thought they're going to take it in. They're going to scan it or whatever they do. I'll be fine. The cop came. I was crapping my pants. The cop, I guess the thing the cop claims I did that would have maybe changed my fate was he asked if I had any other identification on me. I said no. I was in handcuffs. He could have asked me what color the sky was, and I would have just said the first thing. Like, I didn't consciously say, no, I don't have identification.
Were you drunk?
No, I wasn't. I didn't. It wasn't like a no, I don't have identification. I'm going to try get one by you. It was, you could have asked me anything. And the first word that came out was no. Well, again, like an idiot, I have my real ID in there. He claimed that had I been honest, he would not have followed through with the arrest. I don't know if that's true or not.
I don't buy that.
Yeah, I don't either.
No.
I think that was another way to make me feel bad. The worst part was I ended up 15 hours in there. Norm comes and gets me. Corby posted bond with Donnie, I think. Norm's the one who actually came and picked me up. I cried in Norm's belly. That was the first time I was able to show any emotion. Apparently, I could have been in there for half the time, but Reiner, who was not with us that night, was sleeping. Someone called Reiner and said that, I'm in jail. Someone needs to come get me. And he hung up. He thought it was a prank. Otherwise, I could have maybe been there for half the time.
Now, the story is then that at night, it was cold in that jail, as I come to understand many jails are.
It was.
And that you asked the officer for a blanket.
Not true.
And he laughed at you.
Yeah, that's not true.
You're sure that's not?
Yes, I can assure you that after one retelling the very next day, that was a creative liberty taken by a few people, and it was cold. I said it was cold. I did not ask for anything. There was no blanket involved. I did have braces at the time, and I think they thought it was really enjoyable to think of some curly-haired little white kid with braces in a jail for a fake ID while I was surrounded by people in there for like domestic violence, aggravated assault, theft, and I was in there for tampering with a government document. And
what was it like?
I don't remember. I blacked out. I mean, I thought my life was over, right? Which is silly now to think, but like I had never really gotten in substantial
Were you
trouble.
thinking the Rangers will never hire me now?
I was sure that I wasn't going to be with the ticket any longer. I remember being scared of my future coming to an end, naively so, and I just didn't. They don't tell you the process. I'm very type A. I want to know, hey.
Yeah, you have no.
Yeah.
That's by far the worst part of it.
I could have been in there I didn't know.
You just don't know.
And they tell you
there wasn't like you'll be out in 2 hours.
No, there was none of that.
If you could get a clock, and they could tell you like 8 hours from now you're out, it wouldn't mess with your head as much.
Yeah.
But when you're in there, you're just like, I could be here for 2 days. I could be here for half an hour.
They don't let you have a phone, like your phone to play games on.
No, that was another. Do you not remember? This was another part of the deal. They have in this holding cell, there was a payphone. And so amongst the 20 or so people, there was one payphone. And so I get in there, and the first thing I do is I call Donovan. And Donovan has to accept the charge, and he does. Donovan handed the phone to RJ Choppy of 105.3 The Fan. And so RJ's talking to me, and one of the little mini storylines was earlier that night, RJ told me he was Jewish, and I don't know why he thought like I would care about that, but I didn't at the time. But in that moment, I was like, RJ, come on, you know what it's like. You're a Jewish guy. He's like, I hate to break it to you, but I'm actually not Jewish. And so
I've heard that story differently. I heard it that you thought he was Jewish, and you said something about you tried to bond with him.
Stick together.
Yeah, no, I did. Well, no, I did think he was Jewish. I didn't.
Okay.
It was odd.
I didn't hear that he once told you that.
No, he told me I was Jewish. He and Frito thought it would be funny because Frito and I had a bit. I guess Frito was Jewish, but like hated Judaism or something, and married a Catholic. I don't know. But we always had a bit about that, and I love all people. I don't care what your religion is, but RJ, it was really odd. He went out of his way to, let me know he was Jewish, and he was, giving me, the handshake or something, and so in that moment where I'm scared.
Is there a secret Jewish handshake?
No, there's not.
Oh, okay.
No, and so I said something to him, and he breaks me the news
Hey,
while
buddy,
I'm there.
I'm not.
But I continued to call, so then I called a second time, and they didn't ask, I could hear that the first time they had to accept the charge. There wasn't any of that. What I learned after the fact was once one number accepts the charge, that number for the next 24 hours doesn't have to, the charges are automatically accepted. I called 8 or 9 times, and the next morning, Donovan's wife calls him and is chewing him out. Why the hell do we have a charge of, $100 or so from the Bexar County?
Oh, every time it charges?
Yes.
Okay.
So there was a phone, and I called.
It's accepted.
Yeah. And the best thing I did was I had Corby tell my dad. Because if I told my dad would have chewed me out in that moment. I instead had Corby tell my dad, and what's my dad going to do, yell at Corby? It allowed, there was a buffer. There was a cooling off period.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
There it is. He didn't ask for a blanket.
RJ Choppy's not Jewish.
RJ Choppy's not Jewish.
I did have to pee over someone, though. If I'm allowed
Ooh,
to.
yeah. The joint.
What does that mean?
The joint toilet is tough. Yeah, because somebody will just lay in front of it.
Yeah, they'll fall asleep there.
Half the people in there are effed up.
Yeah.
So people will just fall asleep.
They call it the drunk tank.
Yeah, and
That's
when I went
I was
the first
sober.
time,
That made it worse, I think.
I wasn't even I had probably had 3 beers the time I went, but everyone in there is strung out.
Why did you get arrested then? Just bad
mouthing off.
Yeah, okay. That checks.
You probably
could
have figured that out.
Yeah, that's why it's odd that Jared, because you think of Jared as the most meek little, especially when you're an intern.
Charity.
Yeah, he cares
doing
about
good work.
charity. He's helping kids.
Could just be a money laundering scheme.
It probably is. It probably is. So we're not going to do a show tomorrow. Is that the consensus here? I can't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll take a day off. So I do have some extra stuff that might cause us to go a little bit past 2 hours if we do it today. Should I save it for Friday?
No.
You want to do it now?
Yeah.
Sure.
We got Jared here.
We do have Jared here.
Great point, Blake.
How often do you get Jared
make
here?
his time worth it.
So what I wanted to do was, oh gosh darn it!
Never mind. End it. End the
Now
show.
I have to open them. No, I closed my thing earlier. What I wanted to do was play some Kyrie audio in honor of the Mavs' big loss last night. This is Kyrie was doing media day stuff with a lot of different people, and apparently he sat down and did like 20 minutes with Machine. And our thoughts on Kyrie have really been mixed over the years. You know, I've hated Kyrie as a Cavs fan.
Then he hit the shot.
And heard much about how Kyrie would treat people, how he would treat the media, and not a good dude. And then when he left the Cavs, nothing that happened after that changed my mind about Kyrie. Went to Boston. They say blew up that locker room. They did the whole going to the Nets thing, where it was that's a very interesting experiment to me, that they actually did that. An owner said, okay, it's so tough to get superstars in this league. You know, you have to hope. I mean, the Mavs had to just be bad enough to be able to get a high enough draft pick to end up with Luka. You know, the Cavs had to be terrible to end up getting LeBron. Like, you kind of have to get lucky like that. And if you're a place that doesn't necessarily draw the big free agents, like, your L.A. or Miami because of the great weather, how can you get free agents? So the Nets said, what if we just let them run the team?
Yeah. You fire Kenny Atkinson.
So it was basically Durant and Kyrie.
Yeah.
And they said, all right, if you guys will team up and sign here together,
Carte blanche.
we're going to give you the max salary because you can get that anywhere. And yes, you decide the coach. You decide this or that.
Yeah, well, they came in and Kenny Atkinson had decided to make them run at practice, and they said no more of this guy, even though he got a mediocre roster to the playoffs.
They
in
won
the
48
bubble.
games.
Yeah.
That was a good team.
Led by Spencer Dinwiddie.
Dinwiddie team. Yeah.
Well, Dinwiddie and LeVert and Jared Allen, but it's still not a juggernaut of a roster.
It's not a juggernaut, but they played really hard. That was a fun team to watch. And I think Kyrie might have only played like 10 games that year.
Well, and that's the thing is when they signed Durant, he was coming off the Achilles.
Yeah.
And Durant didn't play, and basically Kyrie played a quarter or half of the season because he didn't want to play without Durant.
Yeah.
And so they were awful that first year.
And then once they did get together, they remember the podcast. We played a bunch of the audio where they were just saying, hey, one day Kyrie's coach. One day KD is coach. One day someone else is coach. We just don't need a guy just yelling at us all the time to run.
That's one of your greatest predictions.
The
Steve Nash
would
thing.
fail
Yeah.
spectacularly.
Because that was contentious. Like,
I believe a
around
lot of the other
station.
guys on the ticket thought this will be great because he's Steve Nash.
I think you're correct.
And, yeah, it didn't work out. And
Steve Nash looked like he wanted to kill himself every time you saw him on the sideline.
And then, of course, last year, the Nets were actually playing very, very well. They were really coming together. It looked like this might actually work now. All the stuff they had been through, the firing of coaches, the wanting to do this and that, it looks like this might actually work. And they were on the hottest team in the NBA for sure. And Kyrie decided, well, that's the time I need to ask for the max extension from the Nets. And the Nets, after the whole COVID, the vaccine, everything, the Jewish
documentary,
thing, all that had gone through, they were like, after all this, let's just see how this season plays out. And that's when he said, I want to be traded now. That's where the Mavs actually get Kyrie. Otherwise, they're not getting Kyrie. There's no way you're
Like
getting
in free
Kyrie.
agency?
Yeah.
No, you're right.
So that's why I think we were all very skeptical on whether this would work here or not. Now, you go into last season. They're a playoff team. Might have been a bubble type thing, but they were a playoff team. Kyrie got here, then their record went in the tank, and they don't even make the playoffs. Like, that was the one option none of us had really even taken into account. When they made the Kyrie trade, it was like, could they really gel and make a title run this year? Could they, the one thing we never thought was one of the options was just don't even make the playoffs, because you have Kyrie and you have Luka.
Yeah, I don't think any of us were thinking that the last game of the season they would be sitting Luka to tank.
Yeah.
That's about as bad as it gets. I think I went through 23 years, and they were one of only 2 teams with a first-team All-NBA player to miss the playoffs. The other one was Anthony Davis, and we saw what happened there.
So Kyrie is a guy that, we've got our opinions about him, and I certainly wasn't thinking this would work. But now that he's here, I really want it to work.
Well,
and
they don't have a lot of other options.
That's kind of the reason, and they had to re-up him in the offseason, and then you had to walk that tightrope. Well, we don't want to max him out.
But we don't want him to be mad.
We don't want to, if he's kind of insulted or mad, then he might just have a different sister with a different birthday every other week, and he will just miss games.
That was a funny story. Yes.
So, and I've always thought Kyrie also just is a guy who tries to sound really smart by saying certain things, but he's actually exposing himself as not being that smart.
Hello.
I don't know though. So here, let's take you now to Machine and let you listen to some Kyrie audio, and we'll see what you think of it. It's so Machine is interviewing him, and the first one is an amusing question because it's, why did you choose Dallas this offseason?
I chose Dallas, number one, because it really was the most inviting place that I had been to throughout the year. I was really trying to figure out how do I do some recon, background information, and figure out what the next few years of my life are going to be like. I have 3 kids. I have a wife. My life at home is so amazing, and I don't want to continue to uproot them and go to different teams and have any regrets on my NBA career. And we're pretty young here too. We got no longer a budding superstar in our league. We have an established superstar in the league in Luka. And I feel like I complement him really well. He complements me really well. And then the pieces around us are going to be led by us. So I feel like I can offer a lot of advice, offer a lot of mentorship, and do it without feeling the pressure of feeling alone ever. That's what Dallas represents. It represents family, unity, brotherhood, sisterhood, community, and overall, they were just really so embracing of who I was as a person, and they wanted me to continue to be that. So that's why they were number one on my list. It was an easy choice.
Okay.
So that stuff sounds great if you don't have any context.
The context is they're the only team that was willing to pay me $44 million a year for 4 or 5 years or whatever.
The only team that actually could, too, right? Well,
yeah.
I guess there was quite
over.
A few you could have
got a little bit funny.
Maybe
with the
signed
money.
with San Antonio or some other Houston, perhaps.
Yeah.
Had cap space, but they were the only ones that could pay him anywhere near that, yeah.
And they're desperate.
Yeah, like he could have signed with the Lakers.
For less, yeah.
For
sure.
way less, yeah, like league minimum. They could have fit him under their cap.
It was a very odd summer of the Mavs being super desperate and Kyrie not having a lot of suitors. So they kind of bid against themselves, but they also kind of had to do it.
It's just in the weird way you deal with NBA superstars, you had to do it.
Yeah, and it's funny, too, if you think about just, he hasn't been, like, in trouble, legally. It's not like he's Ja Morant or anything like that. But the Mavs have had a pretty rocky half-decade here.
Like what?
Well, there's
Pants DJ.
Pants DJ, and they've had some scandals.
Yeah.
And yet still they're like, we don't care. We have to have another player to keep Luka here. So regardless of what you shared on social media, we're going to pay you.
Also, nothing he said there, that was like so plug and play. Like, other than mentioning Luka by name,
yeah,
that's like
could have
rehearsed.
applied to any.
Yeah, you could say that about any
brotherhood.
Yeah, the brotherhood, sisterhood. Yeah, what? I'd love to challenge him on that. What sisterhood is existing that you're a part of? What's that?
Scent.
Oh, Scent. My bad.
Well, in this clip, he refers to himself as an icon.
At this point, being on an icon type of level, I really tried to balance out, the real world, the reality that I live in, and then also the responsibility I have as a figure living in this public life. It's not easy, but I enjoy every minute of it because I know I put in a lot of hours that people don't see or will never see. So there's a deep gratitude I have for the pursuit that I've been on, the journey that I've been on. And then also, most importantly, I'm intentional with the space I create for other human beings to listen to what they have to say, hear them out, and try to help and be a great humanitarian, man. I'm not going to get it right every day, but I'm going to wake up the next day, God willing, and push forward to make the world a better place. So basketball helps me do that. It's an incredible platform to be on that I don't ever take for granted, especially the NBA. But the international world is always yearning for more, and I found my peace of mind knowing that I can also do other things outside of basketball to make the same impact, if not more.
That's a bunch of BS.
Now, he does humbly call himself a great humanitarian. I guess we should, point out he does some great charities or some cool charity stuff.
Yeah, and he kind of does it under the radar a lot of times too.
It ends up getting out there.
Yeah, but
he will just hop on someone's GoFundMe if he finds, so and so
50 grand here, 50 grand there.
Yeah.
He's very charitable.
I don't think
give him that.
I don't think he's like. Not to bring Judaism back into it, but as a Jewish person with everything that went down last year, I got asked a ton about Kyrie, and I think there were a lot of folks who wanted me to say he's anti-Semitic because that was their belief. And I would not say that. I think that if you're going to say that, you better believe it. He's incredibly complex and complicated, right? Like, I think he wants to be a good person. I think he does a lot of things that are good, but he does it in a way that makes him so unlikable too. I don't know.
No, I think you're right. I think he's a guy who wants to make $45 million a year, but doesn't like the judgment of the public, which is kind of he kind of can't have it both ways all the time.
Have you heard that he's part of what he calls the all-even tribe?
Is that like a First Peoples thing? I guess
All Even Tribe, for Mavs fans, to give you the breakdown, I throw up my twisty fingers because my tribe is tighter than a DNA strand. So we like to have a symbol of peace, a symbol of unity, a symbol of togetherness. And I feel like MFFL or the fans' culture is right in alignment with that. And it also includes everyone that I've known since I was a kid as well. All Even Tribe is a movement. It's a revolution.
What's he talking about?
That's the thing. That's what you often say about Kyrie.
That see the world from an all even playing field. You just want people to be equal, and that's what we're here on planet Earth to do, is to remind everyone that.
I mean, it's good messages, right?
They are,
I guess.
But do you sometimes just want to hear that
and the impact you made on others? So All Even
like,
Tribe
don't
really
you kind of like
that, and I finally found a place where I can. Be myself outside of just the
like we all don't like
in the NBA and my peers and sports and athletics. The tribe of All Even or All Even Tribe is really for the artists. It's really for those that embody those moral principles to just be good people. So I feel like everyone's included in that. That really are tuned to that frequency.
Like he might be
frequency.
He might actually be doing good and be a good person and all that. And we don't like when Kobe rapes, right? We didn't like that. We were way against that.
Don't like that at all.
But sometimes we just want our athlete, when they take their family on vacation, to rent out a local gym and just be so, they're just, all they're thinking about is being better and being better at their craft.
Yeah,
when
and
Kyrie, I think basketball feels like the eighth most important thing in his life. And maybe that makes him a better human, but I don't know that it makes him good for your basketball team. Like, I don't want him mentoring Luka. I would rather him not tell Luka how important it is that you just do things for yourself, Luka.
And the all-even
tribe. You don't owe anything to this city or Mark Cuban. You should just go play where you can best market yourself.
Yeah, I think Luka's a pretty strong-willed personality, so I'm not too worried about that. But I will tell you, as much as I like having a secondary scorer, I've said this 100 times. He sounds like every guy that I took a bong rip with in San Marcos my senior year of college. It was kind of smart, and then they just start talking. And you're like, man.
And they refer to people as human beings.
Human beings.
Planet Earth.
Mention
Planet Earth. Yeah. They say words like intentional.
Intentional.
Yeah, and you're just like,
I think this
I
last
wish you
cut
would just not talk anymore.
This last cut might be bong hit Kyrie.
I have my tribe, but also I have my name.
Yeah, I think we're already
Ayla.
there.
Aya or Ayla, if you don't know how to pronounce it. You can call me Chief, or you can call me Ayla, or Chief Ayla, or Aya. It means little mountain in my language. I got it from my great-grandfather and some of my grandfathers that came before me.
Can you play this at half speed?
But ultimately, sharing my indigenous history is sharing world history that doesn't necessarily get recognized in schools or in politics.
All right, let me just jump ahead 30 seconds.
It'll be no different.
For me, I just wanted to shine a light on it. It's a beautiful culture to be a part of. It's a beautiful life to live when you know where you come from.
Let me jump ahead 30 more seconds.
It's very simple. You cared for your young. You cared for your elders. You had food security, you had water security, you had everything that you needed.
This is your basketball player. Let me jump ahead 30 more.
And understand that they may not know things about the world that have been shared to me. So it's my duty to share that with them, to give them a greater vantage point.
Is Machine just sitting there like,
yeah, totally. Power all the time. And you chant and you do this. So it takes the air out of the ignorance balloon, and that's what I'm here to do.
That is a high guy
necessity
statement for sure.
Recognize others based off of their differences, which makes them beautiful, rather than their differences make it more divisive or we have to be divided in any type of way.
We should order pizza.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Extra long program today. Because of the no-show tomorrow.
He can dribble a basketball, though.
He can do that.
Let's see. What do we have here? The day that Jared Sandler was at my house, remarked about how long it took him to get here.
Sorry.
I don't want to hear about it.
Oh, somebody's better.
It's Wednesday, November 15th. The day that we are recording live to tape. From high atop my garage. I'm glad you're here, Jared.
I'm pumped to be here. I appreciate you guys.
These guys, I'm not sure if they wanted you here, but I
Blake
do.
didn't, but
I did.
Yeah.
On this day in 1959, 4 members of the Clutter family of Holcomb, Texas, were found murdered.
I can't say that I've ever heard of that.
Ex-convicts Richard Hickok and Perry Smith were convicted of the killings and hanged in a case made famous by the Truman Capote book, In Cold Blood.
Okay.
And never read that book until I read the Bill James popular crime book. In the book Bill James Popular Crime, he read thousands of books. And he would read like 5 or 10 books on a certain crime. So he read, in fact, I think he read about 15 or 20 on JFK and then came up with his own opinion. After reading, 5 different books on this popular, killing, he would take all that he got from that and then come up with his own theory. What is his favorite theory on how it was? Anyway, he said, of all these thousands of books he read, he said In Cold Blood was his favorite. And so I had to read it. And I must tell you,
Yeah, it's good.
Boffo. Did you read it?
Mm-hmm. I
Yeah.
did.
Funny. Funny.
Little knee slapper.
Yeah, yeah. Now, this day in 1980, there was a football game between Pitt and Army. Pitt threw 7 interceptions in 54 attempts and won 45-7.
Wow.
45-7.
Have you ever heard of such a thing?
How do you end up with
7
picks and
interceptions?
7
They got
points?
1 point off of every
pick.
turnover.
Mr. Baseball, on this day in 2010, a San Francisco Giant and a Texas Ranger won their respective leagues' Rookies of the Year.
2010?
2010.
Well, that would be Neftali Feliz. Is that right?
I'm asking you.
I believe it's Neftali Feliz. San
That is
Francisco
right.
Giant.
You're right on one.
Buster Posey?
Buster Posey. Look at that. See, I called you Mr. Baseball just to put you on the spot and to make you look bad. And you didn't do it.
appreciate
He
that.
No, you
delivered.
can't.
You did.
I actually was more sure about Buster Posey than Neftali
If you would have
Feliz.
asked me, I would have said Buster Posey was a rookie way before 2010. It feels like he's played for like 20 years.
I guess that's why we don't call you.
Mr. Baseball. That's true.
What do we call you, Mr.
Yeah. Nothing.
That's not true.
On this day in 2019, the NFL suspended Myles Garrett
Ooh.
for at least the rest of the season, the day after he had ripped off the helmet of Pittsburgh quarterback Mason Rudolph.
Dan was there.
I was there. I was in the end zone, that very end zone. We were in the
But the Spanish language.
Spanish broadcast
Yeah.
booth they put in the end zone.
Wait, really?
Yeah. And my buddy who works for the Cavs is friends with the Cavs Spanish language broadcaster, and he also does. If you're a Spanish language broadcaster, you
That
could probably
lane is-
clean up in your
get a
town.
lot
That
Yeah.
lane is open.
Yeah.
I mean, Victor Villalba does all sorts of stuff, right?
He does Cowboys and Mavs for sure.
Eleno Ornelas for the Rangers does the Thunder as well.
Yeah.
Probably not a ton of job competition there.
Did we ever get to the bottom of the whole N-word controversy? In that
Whether
situation?
Mason Rudolph actually called him, like,
Yeah. It
I
felt
think
like that was
Myles
kind
Garrett
of,
told Mina Kimes that or something, right?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
It's a pretty serious allegation. Kind of feels like it was just thrown in there. Like,
He got suspended too, right? Didn't Mason Rudolph get suspended, or am I making that up?
what say you, Dan?
I don't know.
No way to know.
Nope. And there's a famous wedding on this date. Actually, let me do this.
Okay.
What's 86 minus 32?
54?
Or wait, 86 minus 42. That's what we do.
Yeah.
So that would be 1944.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, 1944.
Somebody went to a nursery.
In 1944, Byron Nelson
Oh, no.
was 32 years old,
Okay.
and he went to the hospital
Uh-huh.
and said, "See that baby?
That's mine.
I will marry her in 42 years."
Eesh.
No, 32 years. Now you're
That'd be
not like,
ridiculous.
You're not like, that's gross. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. He said, "I'm going to look at that baby, and 32 years from now, I will marry her." And he did. He was 74, and she was 42. They got married on this day in 1986.
There's something about being 40 plus where it doesn't seem gross to me. Like, it feels like that's a delineation in your life. Like,
So what if you're
31, 32, and knock 10 years off Byron Nelson, that feels weird. But when you're 40 plus,
So 32 and 62, weird?
I think so, yeah.
42, 72, not.
I think that checks out. Does that make sense? Like, I just
Yeah.
feel like when you're 40
Yeah.
plus, it's like, I'm old now.
Yes.
You're kind of you're just waiting to die. Sorry, Dan.
Today's birthdays we have. Oh, me? That's what you're saying?
You shouldn't joke about that with him.
Oh, man.
My bad. I'm almost there.
That's why I need my young wife to feel younger.
There you go.
Former Cowboy Brooks Bollinger is 44.
There. Isn't it over there?
Where's my picture?
Right there.
You see it?
Yeah. With Romo laughing.
There's a picture on one of my bulletin boards where Brooks Bollinger.
Top left corner.
Oh, yeah.
Romo was hurt. I believe Roy Williams, the receiver, was yes, there was a picture the next day. Like, they brought in Bollinger. He threw one pass. It fluttered. It was intercepted.
It was not good.
And when Roy Williams came back to the bench, that was the picture. Like, Romo is just cracking up laughing, and Bollinger's just sitting there like his dog got shot.
Do you know how quickly Dan would tire of a new wife?
She wants me to hang out tonight.
Like, he brings it up all the time, but I think it would take about 3 days before he's like...
She wants to go out?
Yeah, we're going to a different dinner spot every night.
Yeah.
Can't get any consistency.
She wants to do it again?
Yeah, she wants to do it again. She asked me how the show went
every
every day.
She listens.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Likes hearing herself get mentioned. I'd be talking about how much I love her. Oh, man, she's great.
I hate that.
God,
I'd rather listen to
please
Kyrie
don't.
than that.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Kate Dillon is 39. That's Taylor Mason. Asia Kate Dillon, 39. That's Taylor Mason in Billions.
I don't have any idea what you just said.
I couldn't process it.
Her name is Asia Kate Dillon. It's not Kate Dillon from Asia, and I was throwing out an adjective. And I just wanted to mention Taylor Mason in Billions. Because
I don't think I made it this far.
That's the quant.
Sell it.
Actor Bob Gunton is 78. He was the warden in Shawshank. And Beverly D'Angelo is 72.
Dan.
Good friend.
What a big day. I think I still have her email address.
You know I lost a Beverly D'Angelo bet?
I was just trying to think of what you had to do for that. Was that the Benjamin Franklin haircut?
Yes.
So I had to grow my hair out for a year.
Yeah.
When I was significantly balding.
Yeah,
and
here we go.
It was also the year. This is what I don't advise for you, Jared, as you're raising a kid. Don't do bits and bets, because now for that year I have, the daddy-daughter dance photos are me with really long, weird-looking hair. I was the softball coach that year. And
that was not a good look for you.
Plenty of trophy. We were a very good team, so there's plenty of
photos
of me, like, I would pose with each kid with the trophy.
Very creepy.
And
I went 6 months no shave. That was tough.
I remember that.
Yeah.
We had breakfast during that stretch.
We did.
Yeah.
Breakfast buddies.
Yeah.
I like to get up and prep for the show, but you do your day however you got to do it.
Why?
What?
Just why even?
You started it.
Born on this day. Now they're not alive. It's Judge Wapner. Do we know who that is, Blake?
No.
You don't?
Should I?
I know the name, but I don't know why.
People's Court.
Oh,
the original.
The original.
He's the guy. There'd be no Judge Judy without Judge Wapner.
That was as soon as I got home from school.
Judge Judy?
People's Court.
Oh, really?
Yep.
And Macho Man, Randy Savage. It's his birthday. From the great movie They Live. Dead on this day, still dead. We have Baby Faye. Remember 3 weeks ago when we talked about Baby Faye?
I guess I didn't realize she was.
Baby Faye was the first ever baboon heart transplant.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, and it didn't.
Baby Faye lived for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And
she was.
They would buy her bananas.
Yeah, that's right. She was.
Yeah.
She was climbing trees.
Yeah, with her
back.
feet.
Yeah, with her feet.
Yeah.
That's right.
And I'm going to end the show with this.
Okay.
Died on this day, because I don't know if you'll be able to broadcast. In fact, if I read this name, you might not be able to do a show for a whole day. Like, you won't do the show tomorrow.
Oh.
Mac Miller?
Oh, my
Gustav
God.
R. I don't know if you pronounce his last name like that. Gustav R. That's not his stage name. Gustav R. died on this day. He was 21.
It's not
Who's
Malcolm.
this? Do you know who this is?
I don't.
You know.
Is it Little Peep or something?
Lil Peep. Did you know Lil Peep's real name was Gustav?
No, I don't know anything about him.
You have a tattoo
You
of
don't
Lil
even
Peep.
remember what foot it's on?
No.
Up a little.
Oh.
How do your kids react to that tattoo?
She tries to scrape it off. She's like, "Who drew on your foot?" I'm like, "It was a radio bit, babe."
You know what? We don't have any.
Does she remember that you're friends with Micah? Does that still come up?
It does. Yeah.
Is that your buddy Micah?
Yeah.
Because of the pizza?
Yeah, no, you know what it was? It was I had a photo in my phone, and I was just like scrolling through photos, like showing her pictures of her, and she was like, "Who's that?" And foolishly, I said, "That's my friend Micah." I kind of panicked, and now she thinks I'm good friends with Michael Parsons.
But you guys bonded over pizza, right?
We did. Yeah, I have a jacket.
Yeah,
I have a jacket.
I remember my kids were amused that I was somewhat friends with Dion when he was doing the
reality show.
No, it was the NFL Network commercials where he was like a little fairy or something.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Do you remember
yeah.
that one?
Those are great.
Yeah, they loved that one. Want to end with some war games for Jared?
Yes, please.
You got to do it while he's here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have any. Well, I
don't.
don't have enough good birthdays. Like today, so war games, Jared, is every day I'll look at my baseballreference.com birthdays, and it will list all the names. And then next to it does say war. So I'll just kind of look for a big number and say, okay, that's a significant birthday I need to put in there. They're probably famous. But then, we'll play back and forth, and it's really sweeping the nation.
It's the new Immaculate Grid.
Are you into Immaculate Grid?
I was
you could
doing
probably destroy it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it. Eric Nadell and I would do it every day during the season. I will admit I have not done it since the end of the season, but I'm sure I'll get back into it at some point.
I'll bet Nadell kills it because you can get if you get the 80s guys.
Yeah, he's got
you get the lower score.
Yeah, I don't even know if it's technically a blind spot. I wasn't even alive, but he's got a range that exceeds mine. He'll pull off guys from like the 70s and 60s I've never even heard of.
Yeah. My war games then has to do with only Texas Rangers.
Ooh, this should be
And this
fun.
is Texas Rangers War. So, like, if you were to say who's the all-time leading war for Texas Rangers, you might say Nolan Ryan because he's got 80-something, but that would be wrong because he didn't get those 80 wins above replacement with the Rangers.
Right, like A-Rod.
Yes,
Wouldn't play.
A-Rod also very, very high war.
My guess.
Let me just start with two guys, and then we'll do a top 10 guesses, okay? But let me just ask you, because these guys both have very close ties. They're close ties with me and many Rangers fans as well.
Uh-oh.
But it's older, so it might be out of your wheelhouse. Buddy Bell and Toby Hara.
Okay, I was going to say Mike Hargrove. They're the top two?
No, they just
I'm just saying, we're playing a war game. Who's higher?
Oh, who's higher? Buddy Bell.
Probably a bad game.
Toby Hara.
We'll let you pick top 10 in a minute.
I'll go with Buddy Bell. I'll go with Buddy Bell.
Wow, he's going Buddy Bell.
Wow.
He's not going Buddy Bell.
believe
He
that.
didn't do it. It's actually Buddy Bell. That's why you're
Wow.
Mr. Baseball. That's why
Wow.
you're Mr. Baseball. All right, top 10. Rangers, all-time war.
Juan
and Pudge have to be near the top.
Wando, surprisingly, is 9.
9.
Dang.
Okay, I know there.
But Pudge, number 1.
Yeah.
Number 1. Okay. I know there were about 5 years where Kins was putting up 4.5 win seasons. So I'm going to go Kinsler in the top 5.
He is number 5.
Okay.
Michael Young's got to be there, right?
Just from longevity.
Not top 10. He's 13.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Not.
I
don't know that history smiles. all
Yeah,
that.
no, that's
Was
fair.
Beltre here long enough?
No. He might be like 8.
Beltre is number 3.
Whoa!
In all-time Ranger war.
Really? He was
with
here almost
41.
a day. I mean, 11 to 18. That's 8 seasons.
Yeah,
and he had
I guess
some really good
definitely
years.
had the plus defensive component to the war.
Rafael Palmeiro.
2.
Kenny Rogers?
That's a good one, Blake.
No, I don't believe
That's a bad
Kenny
one. That's a
Rogers
Dang it.
is one of the top 10 at least.
The worst.
Do they
I
have
will
a
tell you that-
single pitcher in the top 10?
I will tell you that Buddy Bell and Toby Hara are both in the top 10.
Okay.
Buddy Bell's 4, Toby Hara is 8. They do have one single pitcher. Oh, Kenny Rogers is 10. I'm sorry.
Good guess.
Back to
yeah.
Back to good guess,
Good
yeah.
guess, yeah.
One more pitcher then.
Is this going to be uncomfortable?
Not at all. What's the uncomfortable Ranger pitcher?
John Wetland.
Oh,
No, it can't be. He wasn't there
closers
long
don't
enough.
really put
Yeah.
up war like that, but I thought you might have been holding out on us for.
he's a legendary Ranger. If I was to give you a hint,
Ferguson.
I would say a beer and a cigarette.
Oh, Charlie Huff. Charlie Huff?
Charlie Huff. Reiner would always tell us that he would go in the locker room after the game and
Yeah.
he'd be riding the exercise bike at about the pace of the olds next to me at the gym. Like, I'm like, why are you even on the bike? You're not
Smoking.
moving your legs at all. And they're talking on the phone or something.
Yeah. Wearing jeans.
Yes.
Did we miss anybody? What about Will Clark?
No Will Clark in the top 10.
Okay.
How many more do we have?
We missed one, actually, in the top 10. The number 6. And he's pretty associated with the club right now, I think, as well. He is a catcher. He is.
Dang.
Catcher.
He is
Jim Sundberg?
Jim Sundberg.
Oh,
okay.
okay.
And that is War Games with the great
That was fun.
Jared
you know what's
Sandler.
great? That was a lot of
Yeah,
fun.
that was fun.
I
That was
enjoyed
a lot
that.
of fun. Yeah.
The great Jared Sandler.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you
guys for
joining
having
us
me.
today.
This is great. Thanks for the pizza.
Thanks for
course.
the pizza. There's still a ton of pizza left.
I'm taking it with me.
Not all of it.
December 3rd, we will see you at your charity. Where do you go again?
thesandlot.org.
Yeah, don't tell us where to go.
Yeah.
Thesandlot.org. And
Thesandlot.org.
to hear Jared, you can always go to 105.3 The Fan.
That's right.
All right.
The station.
With non-Jewish
Adios,
RJ Chop.
mofo.